Hello, and welcome to the road trip. You're joined by me, Gary. Yeah, still doing that stuff when Gary's not here. Sam, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Good to see everyone again. Especially you. Look like you've cleaned yourself up and give yourself your monthly shave, which is good.
Yeah, my 6-monthly bath occurred. Yeah, okay. Yeah. How you doing, Mr. Spencer?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. Happy Saturday.
And how are you doing, Mr. Fadley?
Big up.
It just works. Anyway, so I've got nothing planned apart from a very specific thing where I believe we won't grass anyone up, but we'll just call him Sam G. No, that's too obvious. S. Greenwood suggested we look for dwarf prostitutes in Haiti.
It's a very marginalized group. You know, we have to worry about these things.
Well done, Nick. You arrived for the talk about prostitutes in Haiti.
Yes.
But very specific. They've got to be dwarfs. So you Amazonian prostitutes.
Well, the Amazonians
aren't having kittens.
Well, the Amazonians aren't as marginalized, so it's not. Yeah, I don't feel so sorry for them.
Spencer's regretting his decision to not log off.
I'm just here.
Hello, Holly, as well.
But there's not really much going on, is there, in the world of football today? I mean, there's some international games. Suppose no one really cares about those. There's some Women Champions League games. Does anyone care about those? Arsenal are playing a Norwegian team in the Champions League. There's that.
So obviously we're not really a women's show, but I didn't word that correctly. But you get what I mean. We don't really go in depth on the women's football, but as much as I understand that there was a qualifying round in midweek, and they're doing another qualifying round this week or today.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I believe so. I believe it's a qualifier. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% into Arsenal's women's football in terms of the European stuff, but yeah, it's. I know they're playing a team called Rosenborg, which the men's team were very successful in the 90s and early 2000s in the Champions League in terms of being able to qualify many years. But not quite sure how the women are, to be honest.
That all changed when Chelsea started to fund their women's team, essentially, is my understanding. That's a fair point, Spencer. It's more than a fair point. It's not inaccurate.
Yeah. Experts.
Yeah, that game kicks off. For anyone who wondered, just for the sake of information, anyone who wondered, Arsenal females or Arsenal women, sorry, can't call them ladies anymore because reasons. Arsenal women will be playing Rosenborg women. Don't know if I've pronounced that right, but anyway,
close enough.
At 7:30 in the UK, which I believe for Sam would be 8:30 in the UK. I don't know why I'm telling him 8:30. Like he ain't gonna watch it, so I've wasted vocal cords doing that out of politeness. Yeah. And for Spencer, that would almost certainly be sometime before that. I ain't doing the maths. I
think there's 5 hours behind the UK at the moment on the East Coast.
That is correct.
So would probably be 1:30 or 2:30 in the Chinese dentist.
But in terms of men's football, England are playing Ireland today, aren't they?
That is a great point. Basically, the men's international football started up yesterday or Thursday. Today is the turn of England playing the old potato farmers. I mean the Irish.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it will be a little bit of a needle game as it always is, you know, as our rivalry with the Irish that is well known politically and otherwise. But yeah, I mean, we're heavy favourites, obviously, England. I think it'd be the first game with Lee Carsley as the interim England manager. I think that's something we can probably discuss a little bit in terms of the management setup for England at the moment now after Southgate. Lee Carsley, given the interim job, what do we think of that? And also, who do we think is I suppose, the number one or amongst the top candidates to actually get the role full time when that happens for England? For me personally, Lee Carsley, I mean, he did a decent job with the under-21s. So he's just basically been given a promotion to interim take over the men's team, senior team. Be interested to see what kind of tactics he deploys tonight, whether he just does a Southgate copy or actually tries to implement something himself. For me, I suppose, an area of interest. But Carsley is just one of these managers for me who he's just like, do you really? I mean, he's very bland, very vanilla. It's like, what have you done? What have you achieved? Not much. So he doesn't inspire confidence and a lot of enthusiasm. I'd much rather England actually just went out and hired someone as a full-time manager instead of doing this whole interim crap for God knows how long it's going to take. But yeah, Lee Carsley just seems like a real, wet blanket to me. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Sounds like a massive money-saving exercise. So it's very much we're going to get a couple of games out of you while paying you at your under-21 contract rate.
Yeah,
and then when we inevitably give you the permanent job, because you'll be cheaper than everyone else, that applies. Do
we think he's the favourite to actually get the role full time, or do we think?
I suspect he is.
Really? You don't think England will try and get someone else?
I don't think anyone's going to. Sorry, I will bring Spencer in for any thoughts on it. I do apologise. I can't see them going outside of their current hierarchy because they've got a system set up that they promote from within, but purely because it tends to work for Barcelona or whoever. Like, there are elite clubs that actually do promote from within on the continent, and I think they've looked at it and gone, oh yeah, we can actually build our own factory line of management, essentially. I want to say hello to BX Gunner, of course.
Hello.
I mean, BX Gunner so all the channels are buying subscribers. Are we doing it too? No, because I'm too cheap.
Yeah, who's buying subscribers?
It's pretty pathetic, really, when you think about it.
It's extremely pathetic.
And you don't actually. The thing with that is just. I'm sorry. I know Spencer's talking, but I just want to say one little thing about that with buying subscribers. The thing that people who do that don't realize, or maybe they do, they're just, I don't know, thick, but you can buy your subscribers to get the number up to like that level where you can like technically get monetized, right? Over the 1K mark or whatever. But the problem is you're not actually going to make any money because those subscribers don't turn into active viewers. So if you're not actually getting the views in terms of the, similar numbers as to your subscribers, you're not going to be making any money if you get monetization. So say you buy like, I don't know, some package where you get, say, 2,000 subscribers. So all of a sudden you're up to 2,000 subscribers, you can get monetized, right? The problem is when you're doing live shows or whatever you're doing, you're not those fake bot subscribers. They're not going to be viewing your shows, and it's through the views you actually get the money. So you're still only going to get. I've seen this with various channels. You obviously see a bot buying subscribers because they'll have like. I've seen some channels that have like 3K subscribers, and then when you watch them live, they've got 5 people watching. So it's like, this doesn't really compute at all. And with those 5 people watching, you're not going to be making any money whatsoever. So yeah, there's that.
The only flip side to that is it pushes the algorithm and makes them recommended. That's the only flip side. But at the same time, like you said, they're not going to make any money. And if they do make any money, they could have gone and worked at Wendy's and made more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Less effort.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the algorithm too. Like when you start from like bare zero I mean, me and Tom have had channels, right? So like, it's really, if you're gonna be genuine and do what you want to do, sometimes you're just not gonna grow. In this YouTube space, you have to just be fake and push the clickbait videos. Like, I'm not calling any channels out, but transfer season, there's one channel that just constantly has like, oh, this deal is done, and then it's not even done. Why are you posting a link saying it's done?
I'm not going to mention the channel, but I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah,
it's like, why, dude? Like, you actually, and to me, like, honestly, that person has decent content when they have the discussions. It's not horrific. I don't sit there and regularly watch that person, but at the same time, you don't need to do that at all. So yeah, just grow naturally, have fun. Have a normal job on the outside and have this be your fun.
Yeah,
exactly. I'd just like to say, hello, Russ Morgan.
Hello,
Sorry, Sam,
Russ.
I will cut off in a second. Let you go on with what you was about to say. Russ obviously woke up and chose violence. I don't know what Brownie did to him, but I hope your dog is okay and healthy, because I can't think of any other reason you would go for Brownie like that. But in all seriousness, hello. And Nick Fadley with Let It Grow Naturally.
Let it grow.
I'm presuming he's talking about YouTube channels and subscribers and not my hair. But anyway, in all seriousness, my actual first thought was, I suppose the real reason that people, as Spencer correctly said, algorithm latches onto it and promotes it. And Sam's right as well. Eventually, there will come a point where it's like, you're paying for something that no one's watching because they don't know you exist. But the presumption will be, people will see that you have lots of followers and think, oh, this might actually be quite good. And only after they're watching it do they realise, oh no, there's actually no one else watching this. But by then they've already got you. They've reeled you in. You're trapped. You're not trapped. You can turn your phone off and go and touch grass or do whatever. But I think that's the theory behind it. I don't know.
It's about attention too. People like attention. The money thing I think is secondary. Not everybody's motivated by money. Some people are motivated by the attention they get. There's a lot of depressed and alone people in the world, and some people will pay for that companionship, right? Whether it's through female companionship or just companionship in general. So like, we keep sitting here thinking about YouTube and more of an algorithm of money, but it's not always in that. There's multifacets to it. People want fame, so what they do.
Well, yeah.
There's that too.
Go on, Sam. Sorry, mate.
I was just going to say, I agree with Spencer. There's that part of it too, the attention seeking, because when you're looking through channels, you do tend to think, oh, the channels with the more subscribers must be the better channels, but that is definitely not the case in my experience. There's so many channels I've seen with very few subscribers that are better than a lot of the channels with big, large numbers of subscribers. So it's all about who's doing it, what they're doing, and whether you like it or not. But yeah, the point is, buying subscribers isn't exactly the great thing to do that people think it is.
I had a thought made, it disappeared immediately. It's because of Russ's comment. Basically, I read that and it was like, I instantly forgot what I was actually going to say. It was semi-sensible. So thank you, Russ, for that. But
Russ has got a point.
It's a fair point. It's absolutely. How many transmere channels are there? I can't imagine there are many, considering they don't exist.
You would get a cease and desist for adding the S in there.
You probably would, definitely. Yeah.
Either that or an invite up to Liverpool, where it is. I think it's.
I had no idea where it was, Tom.
They're close. They're close to Liverpool, aren't they, Tram? They're like a local rival, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I say local rivals. It's a local rivalry, as in one is 6'8" and the other is 2'2".
Yeah.
So it's not a close rivalry. If you go on competitiveness, but still, but when you try and win the bikini contest in summer, Transmere will come out fighting. They might even come out. We never know. We never know. Not there's anything wrong with that, of course. Got to go Seinfeld. Got to go Seinfeld for that. Sorry, I'm filibustering while I just try to remember what.
Well, I think we need to go back to the Lee Carsley England manager bit and Spencer's take on that, I think.
Yeah, please.
I mean, there's two ways to look at it. You can go hire a manager. So the flip side, okay, to waffle. Like, if you don't like the philosophy of the manager you just fired, and the youth manager, the under 21s, has the same philosophy, there could be that issue, right? So let's just say they both set their team up the same way Southgate did, and you guys think it's too defensive, too weak, and then you promote Lee Carsley, and let's just say he has the same philosophy, then you're just in that same boat again. So there's two ways to look at it. Doing it, I don't think, is wrong, because like look at the U.S. The U.S. has Pochettino right now, and I still wonder if Pochettino will be the manager come World Cup time. I really doubt it.
He hasn't shown up yet, has he?
He's already signed, I think. That was a rumor. I don't think he's coaching this game today or whatever. I'm not watching it. There's college football on, sorry. But my point is,
apologize to your fellow Americans. I don't care if you watch it or not.
Most of them are going.
I was about to start naming some Americans I know, but I was like, apologize to Gary. Now I was like, that probably ain't appropriate because he's English.
Gary's the ones that we know are probably going to be watching college football or something else anyway. Yeah, I mean it's on the low end of the totem pole, but yeah, he did apparently signed and showed up, so I don't know if he'll actually coach these games. But I mean, if you look at it from an American perspective, I think we're just looking for a manager and make them successful and get the most out of them. I don't know if it's truly about the development, whereas England probably can look at it from a development aspect because there's probably more talent there. So there's two philosophies on that. I guess it depends on your association and what they want to do. But I don't think promoting from within is wrong.
No. It's not wrong. It makes sense for an interim, certainly from an interim perspective, to promote the under-21 manager as part of the whole setup, but it's probably been, involved in the senior team setup some way as well, of course, because there is that that cooperation between the under-21s and the senior team, of course, on several levels. So yeah, I mean, from a practical standpoint, it makes sense to just promote him as an interim if you're not sure who you're going to get as your primary, regular number one guy to actually do the job as the England manager. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And I suppose even if he does end up getting the job full time, it will, for a lot of people, probably make some kind of sense because of that cooperation and knowing, being part of the setup and everything, being part of the England setup. But it's just Lee Carsley, right? You think surely England can do better. I mean, England has money. Don't go the whole money route, because England paid Sven-Göran Eriksson, God knows how much money they actually paid him to be manager. That guy made serious bank out of the FA. So did Capello. England went out and got Capello. So money's no object for the FA. They can go and pay whatever's needed. But, you just think England, right, with the team they've got, the squad they've got, they have ambitions of winning the World Cup in 26. That's the target. You got to think they got to go for a major, top manager, not Lee Carsley. Surely you got to think that.
I've got one reason why they won't, is because any top quality manager worth their salt is in a club job, which carries more prestige. Because the fact of the matter is, we are in a period of time where we are all sitting here going, fucking international break, because we know it's bollocks and it's awful. There's
one guy I can think of who's not in a club job at the moment. Do you know who that is?
Jurgen Klopp. But he's made an act. In my opinion, if he was going to take the England job, he might as well have stayed at Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't think Klopp's going to be the guy. I'm just saying he is available. I don't think he's going to take. I don't think he wants the job. To be honest, I think he's probably enjoying his time off. But let's go on to. I'd like to go on to who do we think. If we say there's no object, no no limitations in terms. Yeah, we know most of the or all of the good managers are already tied up in clubs and everything. But if we say England actually went out and they wanted to get whoever they wanted, like who do we think would be like the favourites as to get the job? That England would try and go for and ask to be the England manager.
I don't think this will ever happen, but I think they could do a lot worse than try and get Ancelotti out of Real Madrid.
Yeah, he's a top level manager. Top level.
I mean, ultimately, say what you will, like it's an absurd statement for myself. Like I don't expect it to ever happen. But as you said, if you could go and get anyone, why wouldn't you go and get a man that's won the Champions League as a player and a coach?
Ancelotti's way up there in terms of best managers ever.
I mean, Spencer's trying to make me angry in the chat. It's not going to work because I'm already in a thing where like, it has worked because I'm now just thinking of Jesse Marsh being a twat. But it's totally worked.
But you know how we can make Tom's little penis wee, don't we? If we can suggest to do that.
Is his initials MB?
Yes. If England went out and got Bielsa, Tom would literally be wee-weeing from his little penis.
I'd be weeing out of your little penis. I'd be so excited. I'll tell you this. I'll give credit to Ancelotti. He actually managed to survive at mid-table with Everton, which in hindsight is an amazing job. People go, considering he won the Premier League in September of 2020, based on them winning their first 5 games, I think it was, and it was like, oh, they're going to win the title. It's like, they're not. They're Everton. Come on now, behave yourself. Even the media were like, oh, could Everton sustain it? Of course they can't. They're fucking Everton. But sorry, pardon my language. I promised I wouldn't swear. But anyway, I can't remember who to, so we'll pretend that never happened. Fucking sort of Jesus Christ. But yeah, I actually think we should just hire Bielsa, basically, because he's amazing. The world's greatest man.
The thing with Bielsa is, you would get someone who is pretty good with players and he's very good tactically. I mean, he could probably get, at least from a tactical perspective, he'd get England working a lot better than what they've been doing under Southgate. But yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to go on our Spencer who he would like to get. But for me, I mean, Ancelotti would be great. I think there's a few other managers out there who would do a good job. I really do. There's people like I know a lot of people have been looking at like Tuchel, and I mean mentioning him because he's such a good, supposed to be a good tactician. All that. I don't think I'd really like him in the job, to be honest.
Nah, I'm not convinced with Tuchel. He lost to a Leeds United team that had Brendan Aronson in it 3-0. Not convinced. Absolutely not convinced.
Yeah. But I do think the top level managers at the moment, I think they are too, like you say, they're too tied up in what they're doing in their clubs. I don't think they want to go and into international management, because I don't think, this is another facet of it, I don't think international management is the jewel in the crown that it used to be.
It's really not.
Go back 30 years to be the England manager was the pinnacle of your country's international team manager. That would be the pinnacle of anybody's career. That was the absolute goal, in anybody's managerial career. But nowadays, I just don't think it has that shine or glitter anymore. I really don't. And you can see that by the terms of the managers we've been hiring and that, post
not
Capello and all of that. So yeah, I just it'll be interesting to see who England end up with. It could probably very well be Carsley, just through the lack of availability of anyone else who actually wants to do the job. Before
we'll bring Spencer in, because we're doing a lot.
He's available.
Russ. Say hello to Football Brownie. How you doing? Brownie? Good to see you.
Yeah, Brownie. Hello, Brownie.
Sorry, Spencer.
So my counterpoint for Bielsa is, if Bielsa could coach Uruguay, potentially win the World Cup with Uruguay, why would he go to England?
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
It will never. No, it won't happen. It literally won't happen, because that man will hold to that contract.
Oh, I was just joking. I was joking with the
Yeah,
Olsen.
yeah.
I guess my point is like these managers, if they're good, would they not try to win with their own country if they're going to go international? Is my point. Like Arsene
did.
Wenger, saw that name thrown. Wouldn't he rather coach the French team than coach England to win a World Cup?
It's very often the way, yeah, that you do see a lot of the top international managers are, they're from that country, right? You've got Nagelsmann for Germany, Spalletti or whatever his name is for Italy, Deschamps for France. It's normally someone of the same nationality, isn't it? And as Brownie said, I think the FA are looking for an English manager, but who is top level English at the moment? Who is the best English manager at the moment?
It's Eddie Howe, by process of the fact that he is managing a team that are consistently at the top end of the table. By consistently, I mean he's done it twice, which compared to other English managers is consistently.
Yeah, Eddie Howe is doing a good job. You've got Graham Potter as well, I suppose, is someone they could look at. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see.
Well, Graham Potter's the one that's not doing anything right now, right? I mean, Chelsea's paying him just to exist.
Yeah,
but I imagine most of the people, like when you get fired, there's a certain amount of hey, you're going to get X amount of your salary if you don't have a job by X, and
they have to pay your contract off. That's
regardless.
They have to pay you, yeah, unless he gets another job, as you said.
Okay,
So basically, Graham Potter is earning more money not working for Chelsea than he was earning while working for Brighton.
And the best part about that is his luster probably continues to rise. What I say, distance makes the heart grow fonder. So Graham Potter might be the one that they look at for the England job.
Waiting for a Premier League job to come knocking on the door, and I know that because allegedly Leeds tried to get him when we first got relegated, and it was basically like, no, I want to be in the Premier League. I was like, all right. I mean, I wasn't in the conversation, but I presume it was like, all right, okay.
They didn't talk to you, Tom. They didn't get your advice on the matter.
He might have been our manager if I had, because I would have been take the job, Graham, or I'll tell everyone you like little girls or whatever. And the fact that it's not true won't matter. The fact that it's not true won't matter, because people are people. And they'll just still look at you like you're a little widow.
Oh, you only got to write it on social media and everyone will believe it. Yeah. That's the way it works today.
Yeah, the standards are very low on that. So, question though on Graham Potter: do you think Graham Potter would take the England job?
I think he would. I think if England came to him and actually made him an offer, I think he would, because what other top English club is going to, there might be Manchester United soon with Ten Hag, but I think that's lined up for what's his face, Southgate, isn't it? That's the rumor seems to be that he's lined up for that job. But
I think they're going to humble themselves. They want a manager to humble themselves and become the under-21 manager, do their couple of years there, and then get the big call up, however you see it. And like Carsley, I don't know what Carsley's done besides playing for Everton or whatever, but the feeling, sorry to interrupt, Sam, but they want this isn't new information, but our football association loves a yes man who basically looks really nice in the suit, does what they tell him to do, behaves. Basically, they don't want Sam Allardyce to embarrass them after one game, which has changed the entire trajectory.
Most successful English manager ever, statistically, Sam Allardyce.
Indisputable, 100%. I mean, it will
100% record. One game, one victory.
The only way it will be topped is if Sean Dyche gets it and has 2 games, then gets himself fired. 2 wins, gets himself fired. It's the only way. Hello to Colonel Ward. Bless Gary, he trusted you 3 on the show together. He didn't have much choice. At all. I mean, he did. He could have just not set the stream up, to be fair to him. But he did. And so here we are. Brownie with some really pertinent information. I'm glad he shared with us all. I'm watching on toilet.
I think that's Brownie's next live stream will probably be that.
Yeah. Watching on toilet, and I'm in the process of losing 50 kg at the moment. Get out the tape measure and see if it's a world record. I don't know. Do not send me that. Gary O'Neill.
That's a good shout.
Again,
He's a decent
Fair
manager.
shout. That
Yeah.
job he did with Bournemouth, spectacular.
Yeah,
Take a team that
he's
just lost 9-0.
He's a decent manager, and he's that type of manager where you could see him being an England manager because he's not a huge like ego, is he? A huge narcissist like so many of them
He would
are.
be happy to get it.
Yeah.
Not that I know him. Not that I know him at all. Like I'm sitting here going, oh yeah, he told me he'd be thrilled if he got the England job. But he seems like the sort of bloke who would sit there and be like, it's a genuine honour and actually mean it.
I do think Russ Morgan had a very good point though with Egil Olsen he's available. He's in his
Bet he is.
He's in his 70s now. He's available. He was. They had him on TV yesterday for the Norway-Kazakhstan game, in which Norway embarrassingly drew 0-0 away. That was away in Kazakhstan. Really, really poor game from Norway.
No service to Haaland, right? No service.
He hit the post.
Midfield, not doing enough to get the
Haaland hit the post, but that was about it. That's all they did in that game. But yeah, they had Olsen from his living room in his house talking about the game.
He doesn't even leave his house to do the job. Beautiful.
And but do you know, Tom? Shall I tell you something interesting about Olsen? This is the Russ Morgan Egil Olsen segment that we're going to have every week now. We're going to have a little segment on Egil Olsen.
I'll let Gary know.
Do you know, Tom, that Egil Olsen is one of very few people on this planet who actually has a PhD?
Never lost to Brazil.
It's true. It's fucking true.
As soon as you went one of few people on this planet, I'll say it again. He's going to say the Brazil thing. He's going to say the Brazil thing.
Russ Morgan knows. He knows. He's a good boy. He knows. But yeah, back to Egil Olsen. Did you know, Tom? He's one of very few people on this planet who actually has a PhD in football analysis.
Sorry, he's got what? Sorry,
he's got a PhD in football analysis.
Okay. So my question is, I've got a list of people that need to take that course. Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, Mika Richards. In fact,
do you know what he did? Do you know what he did?
Jackass course.
In Norway, we have this. In Norway, we have this university. It's a sports university for people who basically high level sports. They can do sports science, physiotherapy, that type of thing. But you can actually get in like to do football and stuff like management. There's like management courses and stuff. But he did a PhD in football analysis. And what he did, he went through hundreds of thousands of hours of football matches, analyzed every attack, every goal, and he made statistics, and he actually published this in journals about how goals are mostly created. And he put together tactics based on this that he used for the Norwegian national team later on when he became the Norwegian manager, and it worked. It worked. He did a great job with them. But yeah, that's the 3-4 minute segment on Egil Olsen we're going to have every week, sponsored by Russ Morgan. I think.
Well, thank you for that. My first thought while you were saying that he catalogued every goal was basically if Bielsa's watching this, you've just given him an erection because that's right up his alley. Because with the Spygate, when he was accused of cheating,
I wouldn't be surprised if Olsen had conversations and had actually talked to Bielsa about football analysis.
Yeah, because when he was accused of cheating, Bielsa was like, "Well, yeah, I did have their training sessions watched." So I think the Football Association expected him to go, "No, I didn't do that," and they got to go, "Well, we had your man caught outside Derby's training ground with a bolt car," and it was like, but instead he just went, "Yeah, I authorised the whole thing. It was my fault. It was on me, not the club. It was me." To which the FA were like, we have to now make up a rule that you broke, essentially. But then when he turned up to the press conference, which everyone thought he was going to quit through shame, And that's exact. I'm not exaggerating. There was genuine speculation that he was going to quit because of the embarrassment he'd put the club through, which he hadn't, by the way. I was actually kind of proud the levels he'd sink to try and win a football match. I mean, he didn't need to ultimately, because as he rightly pointed out, I'm going to tell you right now how to beat Derby County in like a 4-hour press conference where he went, pick a match, and they went, match 5. And he went, right, Derby County played Bristol City. This is how Bristol City beat them. And he detailed it, and he made all the people, I feel like he's punishing them secretly. But I was proud of him. I was like, you, sir, are a genius and a prick for making me listen to this.
He's very good at what he does.
Yeah. Brownlee with I prefer Carsley than Potter O'Neill. Carsley won the Euro under 21 Euro, so I'll read it as it's written. English players are now in the full team. It's a no-brainer. Carsley never managed at the top level, Brownlee. And then Russ with a very interesting pick for England manager, the narcissist Lex Luger.
I think he's available. He's available.
He is available. I believe he's wheelchair bound now due to years of steroid abuse.
Wasn't there? Yeah, you're probably right. But wasn't there? I really hate to do this. I really, because it's the narcissist Lex Luger thing that's triggered this in my brain. I hate to do this because it involves wrestling. I try to avoid wrestling on this show, but wasn't there a wrestler called himself the narcissist or something? Who was that?
Yeah, that's him. The narcissist Lex Luger.
Is it? Oh, that is him, right? Sorry, yeah, of course, that is him. Yeah.
Well, they originally wanted to call him Narcissus, but then they quite rightly realised, well, no, as soon as we unveil this curtain, everyone's going to go, you've hired Lex Luger.
You know who I thought
everyone knew he was.
You know who it was? Me being in my Saturday fucking too docile and brain fog mode. I was thinking that was a Superman. I was thinking it was a Superman villain.
Wow. I know you're thinking of the villain from Superman 4, who ironically looks like the narcissist Lex Luger. I think it was Nuclear Man, if I remember rightly. But they dubbed him over with Gene Hackman's voice because he couldn't act. Anyway, he's already managed these players, Russ. And then Russ, quite rightly, with Norway have never lost to Brazil, even though they're down to 8 men. And
well, that's factually incorrect. They had all 11 men, Russ. And
Jesse Marsh needs to take that PhD.
I think he
does.
Don't
say that to a Canadian. Don't say it to a Canadian. He's royalty over there now for some reason.
Yeah. It'd be like, so I need to take a PhD, eh?
Any thoughts, Spencer, on anything? I'm just...
Whoever you guys want to hire, I'll support. I just don't. I'm just not considered an English football expert when it comes to the international game. Although I did take a DNA test, I'm 65% English, so I probably should take a little bit more caring on this. So whatever you guys decide, I support.
Well, congratulations on
thank
being
you very
white.
much, Spencer.
Yeah. 9% Scottish, by the way. Yeah.
Wow.
No, nobody's perfect.
That's
Scottish. He's a wee bit Scottish.
I got some Welsh in me too, Brownie. There you go.
Bloody hell! What was it? A gangbang or something? Bloody hell!
I did wonder why the sheep kept running away from your house in Virginia. But,
it makes sense, right?
It's a bit of everything. You bit Irish and a bit Portuguese as well. I mean, fuck it, everyone had a go there.
Interesting.
It is an interesting petri dish of percentages. That's all I'm going to say.
Petri dish.
What was the weirdest one out of all the percentages? Because I always throw in something like
Norway.
Like you're 2%
Yeah, a bit of Norway,
Ugandan or something.
That's. I'm sorry, Spence. That's one of my very distant.
Lord Greenwood's is the one. That's what it is.
Yes, it was Lord Greenwood's, one of his distant ancestors who just raped and pillaged your family. I'm sorry about that.
Somebody did something with a winch on the line for me to get that.
Wow.
For sure.
Oh, wow. Praise from Caesar himself, Nick Fadley. There are 3 more analysts with PhDs. Mr. Tom, Sam, and Bronco. Very kind of you.
Hang on, he's not wrong, this Mr. Fadley. I think we need to give Mr. Fadley a star or something.
You know what? I'm going to award Nick Fadley with the what's the first one in the UK merit order of merit? Like, but not a knighthood. Like that's the last one. Like
Is it?
MBE.
I can't remember. I think it's the Is it the OBE before the MBE? I'm not quite sure.
OBE, I think it is.
I think you're an M member, or I can't remember what comes first. The member of the British Empire, the order of the British Empire. I can't remember. On one of them.
I'm going to award you the membership of the Road Trip Empire.
It's a very prestigious award.
We'll let Gary know.
The Wizard of Oz, they gave him a badge of courage.
You know what? I'm removing your membership of the Road Trip Empire. I gave that away far too easily. Yeah, I'm gonna give you the badge thing. The badge thing first. What Spencer said. I've not seen the Wizard of Oz, so badge thing. Tim, what's it? Tim Potman, something like that. What's that? Brownie with. I can see the Welsh in you, Spencer. It's the wind-up merchant in you.
I don't know.
And a jail term comes first.
Well, he would know, wouldn't he?
I've already been awarded that by the Royals. Explain, sir, please.
Oh, Sir Fadley. Oh, yes.
Even if it's not true, make up something that will entertain us. Can we not have a segment on Phil Brown now?
Phil Brown, bloody hell. That's a blast from the past.
United manager, Phil Brown. The man who berated his team on the pitch at half-time, if I remember rightly.
Phil Brown, that's a blast from the past.
I mean, are we to actually call you Retro Rewind TV, even though we know fully well who you are? I made that sound more threatening than I intended. It was like, I know you are, Ward. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting too into this hosting lark. Sorry, just
change the subject a little bit. I haven't really paid very close attention, but did Osimhen go to Saudi Arabia or did he not?
Galatasaray on a season-long loan.
He's gone to Galatasaray, right? Okay, that's what I saw on social media. I saw pictures. I thought it looked like him in a Galatasaray shirt.
Also rumoured, Weston McKennie to Galatasaray on season-long loan. I don't think that's actually happened. Wow. It's rumoured, but it would actually make sense because he's a fat cunt.
Yeah, I mean, Turkish football is just absolutely bananas. I mean, that is crazy what they do down there, the fans and everything. They take it seriously down there.
They do. They take it a little too seriously because, excuse me, obviously their fans killed 2 Leeds fans, so it gets a bit sensitive.
Oh, of course you had to bring in Leeds into it, didn't you?
Leeds and the Turks. Hey man, they killed 2 of our guys.
I want to say that
they've never took ownership of it either.
Go on, Spencer, what was you going to say?
Well, I was going to say the Osimhen thing. Like, everybody's going to start saying, like, he ends up at Turkey. Why did no one in Europe want him? Well, Turkey's obviously Europe, but you know what I mean, in the big European leagues.
Yeah.
Why did the Big Five not take him? It's a money thing. Because as soon as they heard that he's linked to Saudi Arabia, they all tend to back off because it's like, well, we can't match what they're going to offer.
Yeah, I was reading.
Why waste your time trying? Move on.
I remember watched on Deadline Day. I watched Fabrizio Romano's show, his live show, and he was talking about the Osimhen situation. And he was, according to him and the information he was getting, Osimhen's agent was basically saying to clubs he's not going to accept a penny less than what he's getting at Napoli. And at Napoli, he had the biggest contract ever, basically, and his contract was €1 million a month after tax. That's after tax, right? So that's €1 million a month. That's about €250,000 a week after tax. So if he's going to go to the Premier League for example, the Premier League with the tax laws, the way they're at the moment for people who make that much money, he would probably have to be on something close to 500k a week to make the same money. So yeah, teams would have to be offering him 500k a week, and that's probably what they didn't want to do.
I suspect Galatasaray will like
tax-free.
We'll give you what you want.
Either they've found a way of getting that money together, which is probably, we all know it's probably illegal. But maybe in his situation of desperation, where he's not a part of the Napoli squad registered for Serie A, where he wouldn't be playing any football, all of a sudden your standpoint of negotiation is very weak. You know, you haven't really got a leg to stand on if you're not fucking registered to play any football. So Galatasaray could have said to him, we'll let you come and play for us. We'll pay you somewhere close to what you want, but not exactly what you want. Is that okay? And he was probably like, yeah, okay.
Sorry. I am listening to you, Sam.
I was just finished. I was just saying Galatasaray. I don't think Galatasaray are paying him the same as what he gets in Napoli, but Napoli are probably covering the West. That's the way it works now, right? Probably legally and everything. Yeah. They have to cover the difference probably, so they'll have to pay the difference of what he's not getting from Galatasaray.
Yeah, there's no way that Galatasaray is covering all of that. There's just no way.
They don't have that kind of money in Turkey.
They are the only club in Turkey that theoretically could, because they're always in the Champions League for the most part.
Yeah,
so
but
they can pay
you think of their wage structure. Galatasaray, they don't have any players that are on anything close to that.
I don't think they care about their wage, because they shipped out. Luis Zaha's at Lyon now, so presumably whatever they paid Luis Zaha, which I imagine was more than he was getting at Crystal Palace in the Premier League, considering he'd already been at Man United. So I'm assuming the Palace contract would have been a similar, if not more, to get him back from there. That money's presumably been transferred over to Osimhen's contract. Now, again, I'm not saying they're giving him $500,000 a week or £1 million a month, not by any means. But of any Turkish club that could even come close to that financially, it would be them. Because they're pretty.
Yeah, I mean, Galatasaray are most likely the richest club in Turkey, and they probably do have the means of getting that money together. It's just, I don't think they're paying Osimhen that amount of money every week, because I just think that is a big amount of money for even Galatasaray to, even though they technically probably can pay that, I don't think they really would. I think they've probably come to some agreement with Napoli, where Napoli are paying some percentage and Galatasaray are paying probably a lot, but they're not paying him that level that he was getting at Napoli. That's my opinion anyway. Of course, I've got no way of knowing that, but that's what we do here, don't we? We fucking have opinions.
I've got an answer to your question, gentlemen. According to sports.yahoo.com/Napoli, so take that with a pinch of salt, but you decide whether this is right. They've announced they'll be paying 6 million of the 10 million euro a year wage bill for this campaign. So, like you say, $1 million a month. Season's going to be 10 months. Seems to add up.
Yeah.
Which again, sort of it aligns with kind of what I was alluding to, as in they probably are paying $500,000 a month, which for them would be a massive outlay. One you can only put out when you're in the Champions League.
But you say Napoli are paying 6 out of that 10 million?
No, Galatasaray are paying 6 out of 10 million.
So they're basically paying 60% of his wages then.
Yeah.
So Napoli are paying 40%. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah. That's a big win for Napoli in the context of you've got the player off your books. I mean, not fully, but if he has a good season with them, then they can reship him off to someone with money.
Yeah, they're only paying 40% of his wages, right? So they've got a 60% save there, and they've got him out of their club for this season, haven't they? So
it's really not a bad deal for Napoli if you really look at it, especially if he kicks on and has a good season. Because then you could argue, hey, he's done good at the Turkish league, he's done good in Italy. Chelsea would be perfect. That's who would.
Chelsea just go for everyone. They just go fucking. We'll take everyone.
The thing is that, like most footballers, no one really thinks you can do anything unless you come to England and do it on a cold night at Ipswich.
Yeah, it's true. You're right.
I mean, that's maybe unfair of me, because obviously there will be people out there that listen to that and go, "You're wrong, Tom." And I go, "Why am I wrong? Please give me a 1,000-word essay on why I'm wrong." But they give me a couple words. They basically
Double
go,
spacing.
"Well,
You want double spacing, right?
yeah, sure. Yeah, probably quadruple spacing to pad it out a bit." Do you know, I used to stick clip art pictures on some of my coursework to pad it out. The same.
Clip art. Oh god.
I mean,
clip
it's the year
art.
2000. So I just got my first computer, and I was like, "Oh, what are these lovely pictures?"
Yeah.
My teachers didn't
Clip art was
appreciate it.
great.
I really thought they would, but they didn't.
Clip art was
Like,
clip art great. Clip art was if you got a school assignment, we're like, oh, you've got to write 10 pages on something. Basically, 5 pages was fucking clip art.
I once did a science paper. Sorry, a massive tangent. Really can't help this. I think you'll see why you need to read this. And there's a piece of science. It wasn't a final piece of coursework, but it was going to lead to it. And it was marked out of 30. The teacher wrote 0 out of 30. Room for improvement.
The only way is up. The only way is up.
In the teacher's defence, I had done it the night before and just put loads of clip art pictures on it, thinking at least I'd get 2 out of 30. I was wrong. She didn't like the clip art. I can't even fault her. I know it was trash. I just figured getting it done was the main thing. Turns out it wasn't the main thing. It needs to be half decent. It wasn't. But anyway,
you handed in your work. It was completed. It was just complete and utter shite, basically. Unfortunately,
it was waffle. It was genuine. What I was doing, hypothesis and all. Because I can't remember what it was about. I probably still got it. If I can unearth it, I'll read it out to you all, and you can see where I could have got some points if you're being generous. But
we'll critique it. We'll critique it.
Oh, sorry. No, I really won't put you all through that. That's a lie. I would totally put you all through that. Anyway, sorry. What? Sorry, Spencer. What did you make of the opening night of the National Football League on Thursday?
Oh, well, unfortunately, I had to get up at 5 a.m., so I had to go to bed by the end of the third quarter. But I've got a take, and if the Baltimore Ravens have any semblance of trying to make it to the Super Bowl, Lamar Jackson's going to have to become a more intelligent player immediately. There's a play in the, I want to say about halftime, right before halftime. It's 3rd and 10.
Excuse me.
You dying? You good? Awkward.
He's all right.
I know.
Drink that went down the wrong hole.
That's what she said. So he's running for the first down. They don't have a chance to get the first down. And instead of just running out of bounds and giving himself up, he decides to take his helmet as a battering ram against someone else. And not even made it to halftime in the first game. You're not going to make it 17 games. Yeah, they're just not a very intelligent football team, and American football team that is. But it was pretty good for first game. Now, I did not watch last night's. I refused to watch, and you guys are probably going to laugh at this. If it's an international game, I usually don't watch them.
It was in Sao Paulo, if I remember rightly.
Yes, I think Jordan Love went down with an injury last night, potentially an ACL.
Yep.
The amount of international games, unless my team's in it, I'm probably not going to check them out because they'll be on at 9 a.m., like something random time. Not that I dislike you guys having an opportunity to play the games, but it's the same argument to the Premier League. I would not want to lose a home game as a Premier League fan for it to come over to America to play. I feel the same way about the NFL. If you want to do a preseason game, sure, why not? But regular season games that matter, I hate the fact that they're overseas. But and there's a weird thing that I learned yesterday about different locations that are owned by different NFL teams. So the Broncos own Mexico, Jaguars obviously London, and it's just a weird conversation I overheard while I was cutting the grass yesterday.
Ain't Buffalo Bills in Canada?
Something really weird like that, where different spheres of influence, where the teams are supposed to market. This is your NFL team. It's all about the almighty dollar. But needless to say, back to it, I thought it was a pretty good opening night of the season. It ended, I think, in a little controversy. I mean, he was obviously out of bounds, but I think it was a pretty good start to the season. And the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they're going to be good.
Sam, do you have any thoughts on your Chicago Bears? Like, for
Well,
context, I know nothing about your Chicago Bears, so even if you know
well,
very little, it's more than me.
I don't follow the Bears and the NFL as closely as I did when I was younger, but
Yeah.
I do know that the Bears got the number 1 draft pick. They got a very, very good quarterback now, which is the first time they've had for, well, basically ever. Basically, I don't think the Bears have actually had a good quarterback since.
Caleb
What's
Williams,
his
I think
name?
his name is.
McMahon or whatever his name was for the famous 85 Bears. But that was basically the defense that got them that Super Bowl.
Yep.
But because the Bears have traditionally been a defense team, they got really good, defenders, basically great linebackers, defensive line. But they've always had a terrible fucking quarterback. But now it looks like they've actually got some good offensive weapons this time. Now they've done well with they had a new GM that came in not long ago, turned things around a lot. The recruitment's changed, and now basically, I think the Bears have got a lot better team now. They've actually got some really good young players in now. They've got a couple of good receivers. They've got the quarterback, as I said, who seems to be really good. He did well in preseason, but of course, preseason is not the same as the real deal. Yeah, in preseason, you're playing a lot of players who want to prove themselves. It's not the same as a proper season game, is it? So, but yeah, they start tomorrow. I think they're playing the Titans. Is it the Tennessee Titans? I think the Bears are opening against. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do. But they're looking a lot better now. The Bears.
You ready for some football?
You're a Green Bay Packers fan, yeah?
Give me some football. I'm here for some football.
Well, the Bears, that's the big rivalry with the Bears, isn't it? The Green Bay Packers. But anyway, yeah, basically just to finish off, I think the Bears look like they're in a lot better place this season. They've been for a long time. Whether they actually manage to get to the playoffs or not, we'll see. But it looks like they could get to the playoffs at least now that they've got a half-decent offense. Yeah, be interested to see how the new quarterback does. Really exciting player. So, yeah,
Well,
be good to see how it goes tomorrow, the opening game.
I have backed the Chicago Bears on the spread to win tomorrow. I got a feeling you're going to win. I believe I managed to get minus 3.5. So, but also, excuse me. Let's have a look at what I did for Denver Broncos. I believe I also thought I'd have the Denver Broncos to win at the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, it's the Seahawks are a 6-point favorite for some reason.
Yeah. So I don't even need you to win. Just don't get thrashed, and I'll get some coin.
Yeah, I think that
all I need. Lose by less than 5.
What if we win? What happens then?
Well, I also win, but I'm not getting greedy. I'm just hold them to a touchdown. That's all I care.
I think we're gonna win. I mean, I'm really excited about. Yeah, because I'm looking here. So Chicago's 3.5 tomorrow. Over under is 44.5. The thing with Chicago is Caleb Williams is going to probably the best situation you could possibly go as a number 1 pick. The big issue with him is going to be when he has to do stuff on schedule. When, hey, we've set up and this is the plays we want to run, stay in the pocket, go through your progressions. And if he does that, then I think he could be very successful. So, yeah, it's going to be – I always love the opening game of the season, and I think it's – to me, I think it's got a little bit more hype than the Premier League starting because I think the Premier League starting, everything starts at different times. So there's still excitement. Everybody has hope week 1. Everybody thinks potentially this could be their year. And
everything
then
starts at different times with the Premier League. Mate, you had a game start on Thursday night and you had a game last night in Brazil. What are you talking about? Starting at different times.
Hold on now. That's 2 games. I'm talking the rest of the games are at 1 o'clock. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games starting at 1 o'clock and then 4 at 4 o'clock.
I mean, that is good for a gambler, I will say.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you. NFL Red Zone channel flopping back and forth between games. There's some decent games tomorrow as well, too. Especially the 4 o'clock. I mean, you got Denver, Seattle, Vegas versus the Chargers. You got Dallas and Cleveland will be a good game. The Commanders taking on the Bucks. Cheapest ticket tomorrow, and this is actually probably an interesting thing based on ESPN. The cheapest ticket right now tomorrow, the least desirable game to go attend, Carolina at New Orleans, $21.
Carolina, Carolina. That I think is it Carolina that's like one of the lowest ranked teams now.
Yeah, they're not very good.
Presumably.
Yeah.
But
I've got a random stat. Stat. Who was the first player drafted by the Carolina Panthers in I believe it was like the 1995 expansion draft?
I'm going to assume Sam Mills or Kerry Collins.
I don't know.
Because the expansion draft is when they took players from other teams. The NFL draft is where they went the rookies. Do you know the answer, Tom?
I've got no idea what I think the answer is. I'm just double checking it to make sure I don't look stupid. But I believe their first ever draft pick was Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg.
Doesn't ring a bell to me.
Yeah, I don't know
He's a
about
wrestler.
that one. We know who he is.
Bill Goldberg.
He's definitely a meaty man.
Anyway, just one last point on the Chicago Bears. My beloved Chicago Bears have been shit for a long time. Well, apart from that time they managed to fluke their way into the Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts with fucking Rex Grossman as the fucking quarterback. That was a defense with Urlacher and that crew on the defense that got them there, basically. But yeah, you know the saying with buses, you wait for a bus for an hour and all of a sudden, 3 come at once. That's basically what it looks like has happened to Chicago now with quarterbacks because, they've got Caleb Williams now, the number 1 draft pick, but they've got 2 backup quarterbacks who are really good. I mean, in preseason, actually, I would probably say, because I watched the highlights of the preseason games, and what's his name? The backup, is it Bajan? Is that his name? How do you say it? Spencer, is it Bajan? Is that how you say his name? The backup quarterback for Chicago?
Bajan?
Bajan, B-A-G-E, I think it's B-A-G-E-N-T, I think.
It's probably Bajant. Probably.
Something like that. Anyway, this kid is fucking good. I mean, for me, he outshone Williams in terms of his passing accuracy and his passing yardage. I mean, he was just throwing that ball around like nobody's business. He looked really good in preseason. So for once, Chicago actually looks like they're pretty, well off on the quarterback department. But we've got to see how the rest works out because they're young, right? They're young boys. The receivers, they're young, so they're talented. But we'll have to see how they get on tomorrow against Tennessee. If they win tomorrow against Tennessee, they'll be off to a good start, and we'll see how it goes.
I thought the answer to this question would have been the Seattle Seahawks, wouldn't it? Because of the decibel level.
I mean, nothing. You're not going. I mean, okay, so you get ear damage from there, but no one's gonna you're not gonna get a fight started.
Oh no, I don't mean fight. I mean in pure football.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about
because crowd travel's not really a thing in American sport.
It used to be the Raiders, didn't it? Spencer said.
Yeah, Oakland was pretty bad.
He was in fucking Compton in LA.
Yeah, Oakland was pretty bad. It's a bad area to live in now, period, if you want to go.
Who the hell's Rod Smith? I know Bill Goldberg was the first for something in the NFL, in an expansion draft or something. But still, anyway.
Bill Goldberg played for the
Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
That's how he ended up in WCW, because of Ted Turner.
When it used to be the LA Raiders, right? Before they moved to Oakland, the old LA Raiders, back in that old stadium they played in the Coliseum, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah,
that wasn't far from Compton, was it? I mean, you had a lot of fucking gang members go to those games.
I'll tell you what, I was over in California in 23, and I could have gone to the NASCAR, did a race in the Coliseum. And
See what you did
I was
there.
like, it's in Compton area, I'm not going. Because I just don't know the area, right? Yeah. And it just wasn't really worth the risk. And it was a late at night event, so I was like, nah, we're just gonna stay. And but yeah, so No one brings weapons to stadiums.
Well, no, they've got high security now, don't
Yeah.
they? High level security.
If you bring a weapon to an NFL game, you're probably end up at like Leavenworth or something.
You go through metal
9/11
detectors,
changed a
don't
lot
you?
of that.
Yeah.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
take you through metal detectors, don't they? NFL games now, so.
Yeah. Well, I'll be at one in October, so we'll find out if they do it. I don't
Spencer detectors, I heard.
Yeah, don't text me.
Russ Morgan, I think you know what you're doing when you type this. I think you're well aware of what you're doing, sir.
They wanted to do the same with the Blackhawks,
They
but
won't.
the tribe's elders actually came out and said no, they don't want to change the name because
elders.
Yeah, you know what I mean. The tribe.
No, I know what you mean. Sorry,
Yeah.
just because it makes me think of Roman Reigns. That's all. Sorry.
But they actually came out in defense of the Blackhawks because they had this take on it that listen, it's not derogatory. It's not derogatory. It's one of the best known brands in the world. If it's doing anything, it's actually helping the tribe. You know, that's the Blackhawk tribe thought anyway. So the Chicago Blackhawks, you know, they're like, okay, what do we do with our name? And they're like, just keep it. It's great, you know.
I bet that's not what they really said. What I think they really went is, I don't want no white people getting angry on my behalf. You're not my hero, sir.
What's that got to do with it?
I just think a lot of people got upset at the Washington Redskins.
I think they probably get a lot of money from it as well. That's what I think.
I imagine they do. But I think a lot of people got angry at the Washington Redskins, even though deep down they don't really care about the Indians. They just want to see to care about it. And then they've had to change it. So then they're going, right, what team name is potentially upsetting next? Let's go to Chicago. Because I think who asked the Bears whether the Chicago can name a team after them? What did the Bears think of the name? Like,
I'll give you a prime example. I was at the Museum of the History of Native Americans in D.C. I want to say in 2018, and there was a Florida State symbol. And this will trigger Gary because obviously we mentioned FSU. But needless to say, somebody made a comment, and I had to kind of go back into the history. You know, like, actually, the Seminole tribe, they're okay with this. There's scholarships given out. Like, there's a lot of things. It's kind of like this. Like, I look at it like this. People look for any position that backs up what they want to do. So there's people that like the Redskins that were Native American. There's people that didn't like it. So whichever side you stood on, that's the one that you agreed with. And you're like, well, see, they're okay with it. Well, they're not. Like, and it's like Tom said, 100%. People are looking for the real outrage. They don't care one bit about. They don't care one bit. They do not care one bit.
That's virtue signaling, isn't it? That's what it is.
They won't do a single thing for those people that they claim are being just. They won't do a single thing. But it's cool to write on your Twitter and your X. Man, I'm not cool with that name. Blah 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 blah. So that's what they do. So Tom's 100% right on that.
Yeah,
I'm going to clip that. Not the actual explanation, but more the Tom's 100% right on that because it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant what I was right about. I was right.
That's right, though.
Thank you.
Right, look at you, your big Green Bay floppy hat on. Look at it. Look, yeah.
It's not floppy. It's not floppy. See, there's no flop. There's no flop. Although I did do the curvature. Is
that a size 8 hat? Because
it's
actually a bit tight on my head.
It's one of those. It's the new type of design, isn't it? That makes it look bigger than what it is, isn't it? You know, it's what's his name? Rob McElhenney or whatever his name is. He did with the Wrexham hats, wasn't it, and all of that.
I just want to say hello to Ty Hussein. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Big up, Ty.
1 hour, 10 minutes into the show. Where have you been, sir? Anyway, but in all seriousness,
I thought Russ's favourite team was the Dallas Doggers.
Speaking of that, how are Transmere doing today?
Are they even playing?
I have no idea. I do know there are some games. Wrexham are winning 2-0. So let's see if I got the correct scorer. I did not.
The Cincinnati Bengals, they used to be shit, didn't they? And the Browns. The Browns are shit for a long time.
A lot of years without a playoff appearance, if I remember rightly, that they put right either last year or this year.
In the old days, it used to be the Buccaneers. Before the Buccaneers, they had that whole dynasty thing. But the Buccaneers, oh my God, they used to be really bad.
I got one for you. If the Broncos don't make the playoffs this year and the Jets do, the last time the Broncos were in the playoffs were when they won the Super Bowl in 2015. We'll be the team with the longest drought.
Wow. What about Aaron Rodgers? In terms of the Jets, is Aaron Rodgers fit again now?
Yeah, I think that's the second most expensive game to get into, the cheapest ticket. The most expensive game, the cheapest ticket you can get is $200, and that is the Bears and the Titans. How about that?
Wow, that's in Tennessee as well, isn't it?
Do you know that Ron Simmons was
think it's a home
All-American
game.
at Florida State?
Is it at Soldier Field in Chicago?
It's a home game for the Bears.
Oh wow!
They still
Fucking
play at
$200.
Soldier Field.
Yep.
Soldier Field is still a thing.
Yeah, they've got. I'm not sure if it's been approved yet, but I know they've got plans for a new stadium to build in Chicago.
That's it.
Well, let me right. This is interesting comments. Is I feel I have to follow Kroenke's team. Well, let me tell you something. I can't stand these San Francisco 49ers because the amount of times that Green Bay Packers should have fucking won the Super Bowl, but fucking didn't because San Francisco fucking beat them in the playoffs. They go fuck themselves. But
Who's about the 49ers for? Oh, because 49ers own Leeds, right?
Yeah, but thank you for the money though. Like, I appreciate the money, but I hope your team loses every playoff. But anyway, I'm not turning on my team just because another team bought my football team. Soccer.
100%. I'm not a Rams fan. I could care less what the Rams do.
Yeah.
I do like the Avalanche, so I do like Kroenke's hockey team, but I like them.
The Avalanche. They used to be damn good, didn't they? What's his name?
Patrick Roy.
The Swede, the one of the best players ever. That Swedish guy. What the fuck was his name
Forsberg.
again? Yeah, Forsberg. Yeah, wow, what a player he was.
And ironically,
his first name Emil?
No.
Is that his name?
It was God, what's his name?
Can't remember what his first name was.
Peter Forsberg.
That was it. Peter Forsberg.
Oh, Emil played for Aston Villa.
Yeah.
You don't worry about this though.
Hello,
October 28th, we will be seeing the Avs play the Blackhawks. Ironically, how about that?
Sorry, what did you say, Spence? What did you say?
I'll be watching the Avs play the Blackhawks. October.
Well, the Blackhawks have an amazing player, that Bedard. Connor Bedard is an amazing, amazing player, but unfortunately, I think the rest of the roster, as it were, isn't that great. Unfortunately,
it's the same thing the Avs did. The Avs drafted Landeskog, and they were bad, and they got good for a little bit. Then they drafted McKinnon, and they drafted. So basically, like the Blackhawks, they may do the same thing, but like it depends. You have to hit on your players. So Duchesne was another one that the Avs had, and moved him on.
In case Gary is listening, because I know Gary, if he's listening in, he'll be like, Tom, you never said what you bet on out of the Cowboys game. So I'm going to reveal that.
Who gives a flying fuck about the Cowboys?
Well, my actual tactic, I used to go for my hunches on NFL betting, but then I started reading pundits and what their opinions are on the spread. And I determine through a variety of factors, as in, are they usually right? And I've come to a conclusion that most of them are not. So Vic Tafur basically said, yeah, the Cowboys are going to win plus 2.5 at Cleveland Browns. Plus 2.5. So I was like, do I trust Vic Tafur? No, I don't. So I'm going with the Cleveland Browns to beat. Cleveland Browns minus 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will defeat Dallas Cowboys.
How about this one? Week 2, Steelers at the Broncos. Most expensive ticket. Russell Wilson comes back. But will Russell Wilson play? Because Russell Wilson apparently started my calf hurts yesterday, a couple days ago in practice. So he might be questionable for the opening game, which in my opinion, he's trying to dodge the Broncos week 2. But hopefully he plays. So the fans can do a countdown play clock for him. Help him out with that.
Russ, I went with the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 3.5 against Miami Dolphins.
The Dolphins, that's another team that was spent loads of years being shit, basically, after, what's his name?
Dan Marino.
After Einhorn, downhill, didn't it?
When Einhorn, who is Lois, and Lois is Einhorn, kidnapped Dan Marino, Dolphins were fucked.
How did Ace Ventura do? Did he manage to find out about that?
I believe he solved the crime, but I think the trauma for Dan
Yeah.
Marino at having kissed Ray Einhorn.
Was it Laces
Which
Out or
really-
Laces In?
Really doesn't age well, that movie, by the way. But obviously, I think Dan should just get over it. He didn't know. He didn't know that she was a he. So that's not his fault.
Nah.
It's no
Not
one's
his
fault
fault at
apart
all.
from Ray Einhorn. But still, yeah. So I've gone against Dolphins because, of course, I've. Because again, I don't trust them. They've still not got over the fact that the quarterback got kidnapped in a movie.
Are the Chiefs favourites for the Super Bowl again this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without even looking at it, I'm pretty confident they are.
Yeah, they'll probably be there or thereabouts, won't they?
I mean, I'm sure the odds would have changed either way because they've already got a win on the board. I know all there is to know about the crying game. Man, I must have seen that movie twice. So, Homer Simpson line. Let's have a look at INF. I actually couldn't get the bet that Spencer actually suggested to me was how many wins the Denver Broncos were going to get. I believe he chose over 6.5. But sorry, I don't know why I did that. Where has it gone? American football. So this is for your benefit, Mr. Greenwood, because something to talk about. Outright. Excuse me. They seem to have stopped the betting because the games have halfway started, haven't they? Supposedly.
What are you talking about now?
You should be able to bet up to the minute on games.
But the week has already started, so they have. I could be wrong, but it seems that they're not available. So,
I mean, and again, that might be what you guys are option, but you can pull up your phone over here and just live bet as the game goes. Because they have prop bets too, right? They're like, this guy will get 40 yards. This guy will get 10.
tell I. No, I found it. Kansas City Chiefs 5-1.
Are they the favourites?
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're talking
Yeah.
about the yearly for the win overall win totals.
Well, no,
play the
but they're
overall
doing yearly total, regular season totals. But to win the Super Bowl, it was just right at the bottom. I had to go through a list like that. Kansas City Chiefs 5-1. For example, I'm guessing one of the teams that lost would be the bottom of it. Sorry, no, New England Patriots 200-1 to win the Super Bowl. Denver Broncos 150-1 to win the Super Bowl.
All right.
Let's have a look at the Dallas Cowboys
Let me guess. Let's do a guess here, Tom. I'm gonna say 15-1.
16-1.
Ooh, close.
Let's do some more here. Let's say the Green Bay Packers. I'm gonna say the Packers were at 12-1 before last night.
I have no idea what they were on before last night, but they are now at 25.
Yeah,
presumably,
yeah.
I think the part of that will be because they've lost, and also because they don't know if they're going to need to go to their backup quarterback because of the injury. So they're probably hedging that a bit. Chicago Bears also 25-1.
Yeah, they're a young team at the moment. They're probably. I think for me personally, I think the Bears will probably get to the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to get very far in the playoffs. Probably.
Well,
here's the thing about this though, and this is the thing that I talk about constantly here. You know, when it comes to I'll give the Bears and the Broncos as an example, kind of in that same transition. I'd say the Bears are definitely ahead of them based on the talent of the football team. But at the end of the day, for the Bears and the Broncos, and even the Commanders, anybody that drafted a rookie quarterback, you want to see, is this guy going to be competent? Do we have a guy that we can sit there and say, okay, next year, when the draft pops up in April next year, you're like, well, that's one position we don't have to worry about. So that's really where ideally the Bears need to see 8 and 9, 7 to 10 wins. You know, let's say 25 touchdowns to very low turnovers. That's what you want to see more than anything else. And that just gives you that hope for next year that, hey, we can keep building on this stuff. You don't have to go win the Super Bowl immediately with Caleb Williams. Now, hey, you could do a CJ Stroud because that did happen with the Texans last year. If you're talented enough, you could do that. And if you look at the NFC North, the Packers now potentially have an injury issue with their quarterback. Minnesota's going with Sam Darnold because McCarthy's out injured. The Lions are still going to be pretty decent this year, and they paid Goff a lot of money. So for the Bears to make the playoffs, it is realistic. I think it is very realistic for the Bears to make the playoffs, especially in that division, given the injuries to the other teams. So.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, they've certainly got the potential to do it, to get into the playoffs. But yeah, but the thing is, once you get into those playoffs, that's about experience. You know, that's where experience counts, right? That's where the older guys, the veterans, come in. And if you don't really have any, big veterans, you're not really at an advantage, are you? So I think that's very much where experience takes over ahead of talent, I think, in the playoffs.
And as I mentioned earlier, the Ravens and how stupid they can be. In the last year's AFC Championship game, I think they covered 3 third downs, and you got this battering ram and Derrick Henry. And I said this to a guy that was talking to me about it on Wednesday. I said, does Lamar take off and run when they're up 14-0 over the Titans, or does he just throw the ball away? You know what I mean? Like, don't take the unnecessary hits. Stay in the pocket. Because, and everybody talks about, why can't running quarterbacks win? Well, they can, but the reality is the quicker they take off and go run, the quicker they can get their head broken in, right? And then you're under your backup. So, and it's going to happen, like you said, the Chiefs are 5-1. Next weekend, Patrick Mahomes could get hurt.
Yeah.
Everything's an unknown. But I do love a good gambling odds because Vegas tends to usually know.
Yeah, that's insane. By the way, the sports betting in Las Vegas, those sports betting, what do you want to call them, bars or whatever, those where you go, they actually do the sports book stuff and all that. That's insane what they do there. That's amazing what they do there in Vegas.
It's an amazing skill to be able to work out what the actual line is like in terms of what I don't know how to word it, to actually work out what is a plausible thing where people will bet on either one. Because obviously, if you go too high, then everyone's obviously going to go under.
I imagine it's a lot of analytics and everything. They probably have an analytics department that crunches numbers left and right.
Probably AI now, probably, isn't it?
There's probably computers that do it. But there was a time when it wouldn't have been. There's a time where it had been a man with his brain working this shit
and they were still really good back then, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a ESPN 30 for 30. That's
Jimmy the Greek.
Yeah, that's
really good. I've seen that. That's really good. Yeah.
Talking about he was up there. Because that was a thing. Like, gambling wasn't big in the I think Virginia allows us to gamble now, but you weren't allowed to. You could do the penny slots and little things like that, horse betting, but sportsbook betting wasn't allowed until about 2018-ish, right? So every state's different. But I remember trying to get back up here to bet on the Champions League final, and it wouldn't let me do it because I was in a state that didn't allow it. Traveling, trying to get back up to Virginia, but
do they let you do it online?
Yeah, I could pull up an app right now and gamble. I don't do it. I'm not a big fan of it. It's not that I'm not going to put a lot of money into it. And it's just, I guess I could do dollar bets, but it's just not something that I'm really into, if that makes sense. I do like looking at the lines and the over-unders because it gives you kind of what the gut feeling is of the game. But ideally, man, to me, the one where you can make a lot of money gambling is college football, because that's where the over/under specifically, that to me is where you make the money. But the NFL is just, there's such great, especially this first week, and I'm sure if Tom giving his line of work, they have the numbers and all that stuff. The bookies are probably and this goes to the Premier League too. That first 3 or 4 week window is kind of like a sphincter factor where do we set they don't want to lose their hand on this, right? So there's that worry that, hey, have we overestimated for example, I think the Wolves Arsenal was 3 goals was I think the line that was over here in the States will end up being 2. Does that line set properly where we don't lose we're out of business in a month because we've been too generous But you also want to make it in a way where people will actually gamble and feel that's a realistic way to win, right? I mean, it's that science of gambling. So
Yeah.
Russ asked about the Browns betting. I've done the Browns to beat the Dallas Cowboys by 3 points. So whether that actually plays out that way, I mean, personally, I like betting on the NFL because of the points and because realistically, if you just go, for example, what I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the opening night at home to Baltimore, then presumably you're not going to make a lot of money and you're not really going to have achieved anything by being right because they're the champions. They should win. Whereas if you I won on the points because of a dodgy call or by a fingertip on the line or something like that. But I've spent £8 betting on the NFL this week. I'll probably spend £8 next week, and then in February, when it comes around, I'll collect all my tickets in one go and then feel rich for a bit.
Yeah, I mean that's when betting is fun, right? When you're just spending like £8, £10. It's that's when it's fun. But when you start spending a lot of money and you actually, you're spending a lot more than what you're supposed to be. Thankfully, thank God, touch wood. I've never been in that situation. I very rarely bet. I don't really enjoy gambling. It's not really something that triggers me like it does a lot of other people. But funny story though, my dad, bless him, when he was still alive, this is going back some years now, but what we did was there was this one Sunday. My dad, he never really betted his whole life. Same with me, really. But there was this one Sunday we were just really bored, and my dad was like, "There was this big horse race on. I can't remember. It's not the Grand National. That's on a Saturday. I know it wasn't that. It was another big Derby horse race,
Kentucky Derby,
and it was in England. This was one of the big ones in England. It was on this day, this Sunday, and we just found out about it in the morning. And my dad was like, "Hey, let's just have fun. Let's put a bet on this horse race. We've got no idea about any of the horses. We've never watched any horse racing. Let's just do it for fun because obviously the race is going to be on the TV and all that. So yeah, we could watch it, have some fun." So I was like, yeah. So me and my dad, we went up to the local, I think it was the Ladbrokes. We went to betting agency, and we went in there and was looking at all the horses. And my dad just basically, he didn't bother looking at the form and all that. Just the names, right? So he just bet on a name. And I did the same. I was like, yeah, I like the name of that horse. So we just basically bet on the names, really. He didn't look, like I said, didn't look at the form statistics or all that, just for the fun of it. And we put on £10 each. And my horse, I believe it was 20-1. And Dad's horse, I think, was 15-1 or something like that, roughly. Anyway, so we get back and the race comes, and I kid you not, it turned out the two horses battling for a photo finish were our two horses. Fucking never bet before, just picked them out by name, and it was those two horses at a photo finish, and I ended up winning on the photo finish. Oh, that was really fun. Anyway, yeah.
Did you give your dad his tenner? Did you give him his tenner
I
back?
put a tenner, and my horse was 25-1, so I won 250 quid. So that was nice.
All right. Oh.
Yeah.
I played roulette one time, and I started with 5. I hit red and black all the way up to about 100. I'll never forget the dude I was with was like, "You gotta pull away now," and I did. But I took that 100 and walked out of the casino, and then I lost it the next night. But I really only lost the $5 I started with.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was like, well, that was kind of boring to lose that money. Not that I was going to do anything with it, but it was like, I just never did it again after that.
Hello to Ryan.
Big up, Ryan.
Ryan is 100% trying to turn you all into gambling addicts with some quid on.
Bet on the Browns. 25-1.
or worth 100 bet on the mighty Browns.
You know what? The problem I've seen this with friends of mine. I have a friend of mine is a gambler, and he always ends up losing a lot of money with it. And you know, it's when you get into that situation when you're chasing it, right? You know, you're losing money, and then you bet to try and win it back, and you bet to try and win it back again, and that's when you get into that, you know, that black hole of fucking just losing money hand over fist. And he bets on horse racing over here. We have this. It's not racing. It's like trotting. It's this stupid fucking thing they do over here. They don't do proper horse racing. They do it like trotting. They have little chariots. They have, you know.
Yeah, chariot racing. They call it.
Stupid. Anyway, so he's really into it, and he bets a lot of money on it every week. And overall, he's well behind. I mean, he's probably thousands of pounds behind on the betting. You know, that's probably, you know, you get addicted to this stuff. You know, you can't really get out of it, can you?
I'll tell you what it is, Sam. It's biologically, they did a study on this, and basically the feeling of nearly winning feels the same as winning. Like you get the same chemical, your body or your brain produces the same chemical reaction to nearly winning, but you've lost.
Yeah.
But because you felt
it's a buzz, isn't it?
The rush, from nearly getting it is enough to keep you doing it. Because you'll get it next time, even though you probably won't.
You know what it was with him, right? Where he won a couple of big bets, you know, now and again. So he would actually win quite a lot of money, and that really kicks it into gear. And he's like, "Wow, I won this money and everything." But overall, he's well behind, and that's the way it works, isn't it? The house always wins, right? In the casinos, you know, the house always wins. You spend your days in there, you know, gambling or whatever. You're not going to win. Not overall. You're going to lose your fucking money. That's the way it works, because that's the way the business works, right? I mean, if everyone went in there winning money, they wouldn't make any money, would they? I mean, that's just the way it works, isn't it? The odds are heavily stacked against you. When you play blackjack, right? Unless you're a genius card counter or something, and they're always onto that, by the way. They'll figure that out pretty quickly and fucking kick your ass out of there. But unless you're a genius card counter, I mean, you're playing against what, 4, 5, 6 stacks of cards? You know, the odds are stacked against you heavily with everything, you know. And the idea is you're supposed to go in there, have a bit of fun. That's great. You're like what Spencer did. You put on $5, you put on $10, $50. You have a little bit of laugh. You win some money, maybe you lose that, or you win a bit more, and then you just take what you get and you leave, and that's it. You've had a bit of fun. But when you sit there, you know, day after day, just putting in more money, that's where they got you, right? That's how they get all their money, and you're never going to win. The house always wins. That's the way it's set up against you, isn't it? The whole system is set up so you don't win.
But they've never pretended that it is anything else.
Yeah,
it's not like a big con in a way that people naturally will think it is. The fact of the matter, for example, the roulette machines, they call them fixed odds betting terminals, FOBT. But fixed odds means it's fixed by definition. Like over a period of time, I believe they say it will pay out 94% of the time. That doesn't mean it's going to give you 94% profit.
No.
That just means you will get something 94 out of every 100 spins, which is not true.
No.
But the fact of the matter is that if you put a load of money in, if you put £1,000 in and it gives you £940 back, it doesn't. But that's what that average implies. They've took 60 quid off you every time. That keeps the lights on. They're true.
And mentally you think you've won.
Yeah, but again, with the averages, because it's taken £100 from you, it might give £50 to someone else. That person's going to be thrilled. They made £50 profit, but they've took £100 for you. Again, keeps the lights on. Not in here. Don't do gambling in here, clearly. But,
and you can see how some of the machines, right? You know, the old, you know, the machines the buttons you press. What the fuck are they called again?
The slots.
Slots, the slot machines. That fucking hell. Sorry, my brain went dead there. But anyway, there's this guy. It's funny on YouTube. he's I think he's rich. I don't know how he makes his money, but he's a rich guy, and he goes and spends a lot of money on slot machines, and he films it. He films what he does, right? Sometimes he wins, but 9 times out of 10 he loses. But anyway, and you can see how blatant these machines are. Of course, they're all computers now, right? And they're all rigged, so you fucking lose. And you can see it because what this guy did, he put in, I think it was like 10. I'm not joking. He put in $10,000 in a ticket, $10,000 on his slot machine. And what he did was, when he was betting on like smaller amounts, like smaller for each turn, there was this like bar you had to fill up, and when it got to the top, you got like bonus stuff and extra wins and stuff, right? When he was betting the small amounts, I can't remember how much it was each go, but yeah, a small amount. That bar was just filling up quickly. Like he was winning loads, like $10, $15, $20, winning. But then when he maxed it out, like he was betting like $100 or $200 a go, right? All of a sudden, then that bar didn't fill up much anymore. It was like, he kept pressing and pressing and pressing. It wouldn't go. So it was blatantly fixed that basically the more you bet, the less chance you had of actually winning. So it was just so blatant the way that machine was set up, and it was. You can see it's all set up to run
any
against.
Different to anything I've ever seen. That is that basically it. It's made you feel, not you, it's made that individual feel very confident that his luck is in. So he started increasing to try and take advantage of it. And that's when the algorithm goes, no, actually, it's your turn to give me some of that money back.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but he doesn't know that until he's already give it a bit of money.
Yeah.
And then he's getting trapped like, I've got to catch up because my luck's got to turn some point, but it hasn't. Yeah. It hasn't got to, because it's already decided. The only way you can avoid it is by getting off your arse and walking away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's so hard, like you say, like Russ says in the chat there, it's dopamine, right? That's the chemicals in your brain, the reward and buzz and all of that. And obviously that's what's happening, right? When you're that close to winning or you actually win, I want to do it more. I want to do it more. It's really hard to walk away, right? That's the way it works. That's the way it's set up, isn't it? Psychologically, your brain
I've had these conversations with guys at work where basically, I say guys, customers who are basically like, oh, this fucking machine is blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there like, well, but you've gone to the machine. The machine hasn't made you play it.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really callous and cold of me, but there does come a point where it's like, no, you've actually got to take agency of your own decisions and realise that it's on you to walk away. It's not on the machine to tell you. You actually can set it so it will stop letting you play it after a half hour or whatever. Those things are in place. Whether people know that is another thing. But it's the first thing that the first thing that pops up in my shop is when you go on there, it goes, do you want to set a time limit? Do you want to set a spend limit? 99% of people press no and no. That's their first mistake. That's the second mistake. Their first mistake was actually sitting on it or sitting down or whatever. But there does come, like, you do feel sorry for these people, but then some of them react in ways where you progressively feel less sorry for them.
Yeah. Some of them
I'm not saying I want people to sit and lose. I'm impartial to it. I'll put it another way. I'm paid the same regardless of what you walk out with. Ultimately, so in that respect, your wins and losses don't actually affect me putting food on the table. No one's ever actually going to believe that, but it's true. They're like, oh, you get paid out of this. I'm like, I don't get paid 20p, mate, because I know you just put that in there. Well, how much do you think I'm earning? I'll pay your wages. I'm like, well, I don't earn £2.50, mate. Because that's what you just put in the machine. How little do you think I'm getting for sitting here?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't pay my wages. And for a start, I pay tax. I'm pretty sure you're only in here when the Dole office pays that. So actually, I'm paying your wages. Now, fuck off.
Yep.
I mean, in Virginia, they call them skill games. And so, I mean, obviously they have places where you can go gamble and everything. but they have in the 7-Elevens or the convenience stores called skill games. I know a guy that actually runs the business. I don't know if he's gotten out of it, but it's such a lie. 'Cause it's like, this place supports Virginia with skill games, and you're like, okay, I guess if you say so, but the whole, it's like you said earlier about the accountability thing. It's the same thing when it comes to drinking or anything else that becomes a problem. People tend to want to blame somebody else. Well, the house screwed me over. Well, dude, you didn't have to sit down. You didn't have to put the bottle to your mouth. You didn't have to do these things, but you chose. That's the big thing. That's the issue today. There's no accountability, right? I'm not really turning into one of those podcasts, but at the same time, I think the money to be made gambling, though, Tom, Sam, and you guys may agree on this, is really more on the sports and the horse racing, because there's nobody really controlling whether that horse. Now, granted, they can get up there and give you bullshit odds for the horses, and they give you the bum one at 2-1 and the good one at 6 to whatever. They can manipulate whatever they want to manipulate. But I mean, Russ made it earlier about the U.S. But we have the stock market. I go buy a stock tomorrow, and let's just say Warren Buffett moves his money around, and the whole stock market takes a big old fart.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Money, and that because he's got information that I probably don't, and that's just how things work. So the gambling thing, like, I'm not a big fan of it. If you want to do it, do it. But like Tom said, you got to be smart. You got to, people just don't take accountability. And the sad thing is I've been in casinos in the state of Mississippi, another state, where I've seen little old ladies and old men smoking their cigarettes, just blowing. You can see them tap, tap, tap. And it's like they don't understand, like, dude, like, you're not, like, what are you doing? And it's sad, but they're making that choice, just like they're making the choice to put the cigarette up to their mouth and get issues.
Yeah, the sickest example of that, it's probably the same in Mississippi in a casino there, but like in Vegas, I've been to Vegas a couple of times. And, inside those casinos, it's true what they say. It's absolutely true. You have no idea what time of day it is, right? Because whether it's 4 a.m. in the morning or 8 p.m. in the evening, everything is exactly the same. They're serving you food. In most of the casinos in Vegas, they give you free. If you're sitting gambling at a table or a machine, you're actually actively putting your money in. They come around and give you free drinks. There are all these waitresses and waiters. They go around and give you fucking free drinks. So you're getting drunk, and then of course you make even worse decisions. It's all rigged to be against you, but you have fun, right? The idea is you're supposed to have fun, right? That's the idea. But inside these casinos, you just have no idea what time of day it is. It could be 4 a.m. in the morning, like you say. And I remember come out because I went out. I was there with a friend of mine just to finish off with Vegas. I was there with a friend of mine this one time. We went out for the night. This one night, we came back to the hotel, went through the casino because we had to go through the casino to get to where our elevator was to get up to our room. And it was like 4 a.m. And 4 a.m. this fucking casino was full up with old grannies and old men and that. And it's 4 a.m. all sitting there like Spencer says, pushing these fucking buttons. It's really sick to look at when you fucking think about it.
Product placement is everything.
Do you know how they achieve that? This is genuinely true. Well, two of them are definitely true. One's allegedly true. They achieve that through a combination of, you will not find a window in a casino. No. You will not be able to see the outside of a casino from the inside of a casino, especially not from sat at a slot machine. They will go well out of their way to make sure you do not know whether it's night or day. You will not find a clock on the wall. They will go out of their way to make sure you do not know what time of day is. How do you walk into a casino and see people playing it at 4 a.m. because they don't know it's 4 a.m. How are they awake? Because of the oxygen that they pump into the building to keep you awake and alert. Even if you're drunk, you'll still be awake because of all the oxygen being pumped in. Those combination of those three things are amazing and absolutely nothing to do with anything to descend in my head. Which is the only football ground in Britain that's named after one of the deadly sins?
I don't know, what one is it?
It's Pride Park for Derby County.
All right, Pride. Yeah, Pride. Yeah. Right.
Seven's a good movie, by the way.
But yeah, I
Or
mean,
in a
it's
randomly.
the same thing. Like talking about, like I mentioned the stock market earlier. Like you can make money in the stock market, you can also lose money in the stock market. So like,
I'll tell you what. Another thing, right, which is the big fad and the big thing at the moment, and Brownie knows all about this. Brownie's probably gonna have a few words to say as well. But fucking cryptocurrencies, right? All this crypto that is fucking bullshit. That is so fucking bullshit. I mean, the stuff they come up with, they make all this fucking crazy cryptocurrencies and people buy it. Oh yeah, great. And then 6 months later, the people who started it are fucking taking all their money and run, and it just crashes. And that shit is just crazy. How people put their money into crypto is just fucking bonkers. I mean, unless you're lucky enough to be part of the whole Bitcoin thing, where if you got in early with Bitcoin, and now of course Bitcoin is probably like the one of very few like legitimate cryptocurrencies that have actually sort of like halfway worked. But, you know, apart from that, all these thousands of different cryptocurrencies, fucking, I don't know, fuck all their stupid names they've got. And they're just pyramid Ponzi schemes, right? That's what they are, basically.
I don't know he's going to say this.
Yeah. Fucking, it's nuts, Brownie. Remember you, that fucking Dogecoin, the fucking Musk coin that just fucking plummeted. You were in heavy with that, Brownie. That just fucking plummeted like nothing because it was just all bullshit.
Russ,
Elon Musk was there was this rumor that went around for a long time. Musk was going to go on national TV or some kind of interview and say,
is that a real thing?
Tesla were going to take Dogecoin as payment, and blah, it's going to become an official currency and blah, blah, blah. It's all just bullshit to get people to put money in. And it just fucking crashed like they all do. 99% of crypto fucking crashes. It just crashes because people get incited, put money in, and then all of a sudden the people who make all the money to start off with fucking take their money and come out, and then it starts crashing and everyone does the same. Oh, fuck, let's get out of this. And then just fucking nosedives. It's just a scam. That's what crypto is.
Is crypto with Brownie a real thing?
Yeah, he had a podcast. He had a show he used to do on crypto because he was into Dogecoin and he was following Dogecoin and that, and yeah. Dogecoin, fucking garbage. I remember having a joke with Brownie. I was talking about cryptocurrency. I said to Brownie, you should start your own currency, call it shitcoin.
Shitcoin. Russ, Helen Road, not a sin, but Helen Road. I would have also accepted a giant bell end road, as some on the internet call my team's ground, Bell End Road. I see what they did there. Lost a bit before he went on Saturday Night.
Well, he went on. That was the big thing.
Elon Musk, right?
That was a big thing because Elon Musk was going to do he did Saturday Night Live, and the rumors were he was going to announce on Saturday Night Live that Dogecoin was going to be the official. You could pay for it. You could pay Tesla and all his stuff with Dogecoin, and he was going to promote Dogecoin. But it turned out when he went on, he didn't mention it one word. It was all bullshit. It was all just to get people to put money into Dogecoin, and it just never fucking happened.
Seems a bit dodgy, that.
Yeah, Bitcoin was the only one I would touch. I would not touch
Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a big thing for people that launder money. Scams, basically, but like not to get racist, but Indian call center scams certainly do not mind you paying them in Bitcoin. Not because I've actually been done by this, because I've seen videos of people that have been
gift
done
cards
by
are
this.
their favorite, technically.
Oh yeah, they love the gift cards, but there are certain there's a certain amount of money where basically they don't want it traceable. So if they can't get you to send them the cash through what they call a mule, so that you send it within America, and then the person you get them to send it to then converts it into Bitcoin. It's something like that.
Yeah,
he's into a crypto called
bonk.
Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised?
Technically, at this stage, and we're not getting political here at all, but most money is not backed up by much anyway. So, especially when you start going off gold standards and stuff like that, that's when things become a little bit more worthless. So, it's all dodgy money at this point.
I actually sometimes I get tempted to just throw everything up in the air and go, I don't recognise cash as currency anymore. I don't recognise the map of the world. The world is flat. It's not. I mean, there's quite a lot of evidence to suggest that, you know, the Earth is indeed not flat. But I know even saying that will upset a lot of people.
Well, technically,
be like,
flat. Planes go like this. They come down and they go back that. So someone told that joke this week, so sorry.
No, that's Spencer. That's the type of logic you're working with, right? That's the problem.
The Didn't Happen of the Year Awards winner last year. That's a Twitter account called Didn't Happen. It's DHOTY. Didn't Happen of the Year. The one that won it was a person that claimed that they spoke to a pilot during a flight with a knowing smile, where they implied that the pilot admitted that the Earth is flat. Because he didn't. There was no curvature of the nozzle of the plane, and it's like, well, why aren't you dipping the plane? Because there's no need to. Is that because the Earth is flat?
I hope that pilot was summarily fired after that. I mean,
I hope that pilot was lying just to see what happened.
He obviously hadn't flown Concorde then, because in Concorde, when you flew at 70,000 feet, you could actually physically see the curvature of the Earth. That's how high it flew when it flew at 70,000 feet.
I'm just saying, just putting it up there, not to get political, but I just wanted to roast that particular individual. It's their telling of it that's more funny. It's the confidence with which they were like, the pilot gave me a knowing smile.
You know, my favorite one at the moment that is just so, you know, the funny thing with all these conspiracy theories, we're probably going to start on this now, so it's a bit of fun anyway. But the funny thing with conspiracy theories is, right, they sound so good. When you just talk about them in generalities and general theories, it sounds, oh yeah, that sounds really great. That sounds, oh wow, that's interesting. But as soon as you start investigating, you just start asking basic questions to dig a little bit further beyond that top layer. They all fall apart. They completely fall apart because evidence, logic, you know, actual witness testimony of actually what happens, all these things sort of come into play. And it's like, well, you know, that's not really true what you're saying there. You know, and one of my favorites at the moment are these fucking chemtrail conspiracies. The airplanes are spewing out chemicals specifically designed to manipulate the atmosphere. And some of them are even saying these chemicals are manipulating people. You know, they go into your body and you know, they fucking, that's how the government manipulates you or whatever. This kind of crazy shit. And it's just like the first basic question you can ask one of these conspiracy theories on chemtrails is, okay, first of all, have you ever actually, do you have any idea how an aircraft is constructed in terms of how it's built up? Like, you have fuel tanks in the wings and there's a tank under the fuselage as well in some of the larger planes, but normally they're in the wings, the fuel tanks. And in those fuel tanks, you put in fuel, jet fuel, to fuel the aircraft. Where's the chemicals going to go? Where do you load the chemicals that do not mix with jet fuel? Where are you going to load the fucking chemicals, right? And second thing, how are the chemicals going to be spread? How are you actually spraying the chemicals from the aircraft when the only way you can physically spray chemicals from an aircraft is the fuel dump valve? You have a fuel dump valve on the end of the wing that dumps fuel in case you need to dump fuel for weight issues. If you need to, you know, do an emergency landing or whatever, you need to dump fuel for some other reason. But that's fuel. It's coming from the fuel tank. So first of all, where are you going to load the chemicals? How are the chemicals going to be sprayed? Because the stuff that comes out of the engines, that's fucking condensation and you know, residue from the fuel that's burnt up. You can't spray chemicals from the rear of a jet engine. It's just not physically possible. So it's like, you ask these basic questions and they're like, I don't know. But when you look in the sky and you see these white trails that look like clouds. Oh yeah, that's chemtrails. It's like, fuck off. It's condensation at the right level of atmospheric pressure. That's what's fucking happening. I mean, it just drives me bonkers. Anyway, enough of that. Let's fucking move on to something else.
I do love
Brownie. Yes, they actually physically loaded Agent Orange as a weapon. That's not the same as a civilian aircraft with fucking fuel tanks. Okay, it's military aircraft loading chemicals in specialized tanks for the chemicals, right? That were specifically used in military aircraft for Vietnam.
All right, I'm going to read to you all. The runner-up in the Didn't Happen of the Year for 2023, simply called 1,000 Person Orgy.
1,000 person orgy.
Again, this is designed to lightheartedly mock the claims of people of things that they claim happened, but probably didn't. I'm the head of a large venture capitalist organization. I employ about 100 analysts in Manhattan, and we have a 12,000 square foot office that's always busy and bustling. I'm always at the office making sure everybody is doing analysis. Well, one weekend, I thought I could trust my employees to manage themselves. Sorry. I forget the content of this other than the lie. I was invited to speak at a public event in Atlanta, but it ended up getting cancelled due to the building it was supposed to be held in unexpectedly collapsing.
What?
Unexpectedly collapsing. Right, stay with me. Well, I headed back up to the office on Sunday, a day earlier than was expected. I take the elevator up to my floor, open the door to the office, and my employees were having a giant 100-person orgy all over the office. People fucking on the floor, on the desks, in the bathroom, closets, cubicles, you name it. I dropped what I was holding and everybody goes silent. One of the employees turned off all the lights. And like clockwork, the rest of them quickly closed the blinds, so the room was pitch black. When the lights were turned back on, everybody was back, neatly dressed, typing away at the desk as if nothing happened. A couple of the employees commented on how odd the brief power outage was. I haven't said anything about it, but I know they know. I know.
Okay. Tom, where did you get this from?
It's on the Twitter account, Didn't Happen of the Year Awards.
Oh, okay, right. Gotcha.
I was like, what did I walk back into?
Yeah.
Someone claimed that and they were invited to a conference. They had to return because the building the conference was in unexpectedly collapsed. That was my first flag that this was bullshit. And then apparently there was 100 people having an orgy in the office. And then they turned the lights out and they came back on and they acted like nothing was happening. That was runner-up to curvature, as they called it. Before I got off the plane at Munich, I asked the air steward if I could have a word with the pilot. He gave me a knowing smile and took me to the cockpit. Here's the conversation. Me, flying over the distance you've flown, at the speed we've flown at. As the pilot, you'd have to dip the nose of the plane at regular intervals to allow for the curvature of the Earth. Do you do that? The pilot said, no, I don't. Me, so you can just fly straight. No nose dipping at all. Correct, said the pilot. So does that mean you're flying over a flat surface then? The pilot, yes. Me, so there's no curvature. Pilot replies, no curvature. So if there's no curvature, that means the Earth is not a sphere. The pilot says, correct, it's flat. no, it smiles all around. It's the language. The language used in these makes it. Knowing smiles all around. I like how the air steward had a knowing smile as if they knew what was about to get asked.
Well, that's it. There's that definitely proves that. Then that means there's
Facts.
definite 100% factual evidence of a flat Earth, and that's it. There's no more question. That is now 100% true.
I personally
always
think
knew
they
it was
were
true.
not the best two. Sorry, what's that, Spencer?
I always knew the Earth was flat.
That's just that. I was on the fence, but that just proved it because the pilot gave a knowing look.
You know what? I think either that is complete bullshit and that never happened, or the pilot and his first officer probably realized it was a flat earther and they're like, fucking let's have a laugh with this guy. You know, like, yes, the Earth is flat.
Especially if you find out that pilot had prior military experience, it absolutely is true. They were, because the humor is just dark.
Fucking hell.
I think it's funny, conspiracy theories. Like some of them I think are a little bit. There's some truth to it, but most of them are just like the chemical one you talked about. I was like, why would they do that? Just put it in the food. Like,
Yeah, it's already in the fucking food, isn't it?
There's always a kernel of truth that has been expanded upon in the most obnoxious, boring. Not boring. They're not boring. That was the wrong word for me to use. The most obnoxious way that makes it a lie.
You know what? Just to
You have to
finish,
embellish on it.
just to finish off on this whole conspiracy thing, we probably want to get onto something else. But there was this. They did this program over here in Norway, a documentary, and it was really good. And what they did is they took some people who had basically been running this like conspiracy message forum online, and they were these adamant 9/11 inside job conspiracy theory nut jobs. And one of their main theories was, well, aircraft fuel can't melt steel, right? That's what they were saying. Because they were saying that the temperature point of burning fuel is not enough to melt steel, blah, all that crap. Anyway,
still beams, baby.
Anyway, so what they did was there was this. It was basically this program about debunking conspiracy theories, and they took these people from this message board, and they actually physically took them to some experts who actually ran real life experiments in front of them, replicating. They actually took jet fuel, set it on fire, and showed them that the fucking steel girders that was basically the same type used in the World Trade Center, they melt because the whole. It's not just the temperature of the jet fuel, right? It's the whole temperature that increases with all of it going on at the same time. The temperature actually rises higher, and then over time that becomes too much for the steel to handle, and it starts melting, right, and buckles. Anyway, so they physically showed this to them in this experiment in this laboratory. And you know what? I can't remember. I think there were like about five of these people. And four of them were like, well, fuck me. That changes my mind. I'm like, wow. Because they're actually showing them in real life. This is what actually, it's not written on some message board by some fucking Tom, Dick and Harry backyard scientist. Oh, that's not true because that can't happen. It's like, what qualifications do you have to talk about that? None. Okay, we're going to believe you. Anyway, so actually believing real scientists showing them in a laboratory, really, that this is actually possible. They're like, well, fuck me, that's okay. Well, we're going to change our mind on that. That actually made them look like real dickheads. But one of them, I'm like, oh, no, I don't know. That's not true. I don't believe that. I think you're just setting it up. It shows you how crazy some people are. You actually show them physically in real life in front of them with their eyes, and they still won't believe it. It's like, because they're so heavily invested and fucking, I don't know, indoctrinated or whatever it is. They will not fucking believe what they're seeing with their eyes. It was amazing to see. It turned into like some kind of psychological phenomena. It was like this one person actually saw this and like with the other four people saying, yeah, sorry, we understand this is wrong now. But this one guy was like, no, sorry, I don't believe that. I think this is all a setup. I think this is all put together. But he's saying the whole thing was a fucking conspiracy. The whole experiment was a fucking conspiracy. It's like,
in my
crazy.
defense, Sam, I can defend myself on this. I still got a free night at a hotel and a day out at the Mythbusters Centre.
It was you. I thought it was you, Tom. You were the fucking bastard.
I was like, real glass, cry me a river. Anyway, I'll just want to read out one more because it's truly absurd. It's called KFC. Had to share this. It starts out. This is the last one, I promise. And then we'll talk about whatever you want. I feel the need to bring this up. So the KFC I work at actually use fresh chickens on site to make their food. We have a big coop in the back, and each morning the on-duty butcher does his thing. Do I have to go into detail?
The on-duty KFC butcher.
The on-duty butcher. Do I in brackets? Do I have to go into detail? A lot of our staff is really fucking upset at this, as they hate the fact we basically slaughter these animals in the premises. We just don't say much because our general manager is really strict about it and argues with us every time we bring it up. And one of our old staff members got fired for threatening to expose him. Okay. Last week, I decided to take action, and I hid a camera inside the chicken coop and videoed what was happening. Played it on a projector I set up in the restaurant in front of all the customers. People got so mad that they started throwing their food at our manager, and the police showed up and arrested him. Sorry. Right, sorry. I'll start that bit again. Last week, I decided to take action and hid a camera inside the chicken coop and videoed what was happening. Played it on a projector I set up in front of all the customers. People got so mad that they started throwing food at our manager, and the police showed up and arrested him, the manager.
So they just happened to have a projector in the KFC then to show everyone.
That's not the end of it. That's not the actual best part. I promise you. I let all the live chickens free into the eating area, and everyone that applauded as they all escaped out of the door. And so the final line. I'm now heading to bed as I've got. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible at reading these. I'm now heading to bed as I've got an early shift tomorrow as new head manager. I don't know, it's a woman who wrote this. It has to be. Sorry.
What you said they went to bed? I couldn't get what you said the last bit there.
Sorry. Give me 10 seconds to compose myself. I'm now heading to bed as I've got an early shift tomorrow as new head manager. and it has a big smiling emoji at the end.
Oh God, that is amazing. If that's true in terms of someone actually wrote that is fucking amazing.
That could actually be a movie. I mean, I wouldn't watch it because I already know the plot, but amazing.
That is absolutely amazing. That is
that
brilliant.
Was a semi-finalist in the Didn't Happen of the Year. In fact, when the 2024 Didn't Happen of the Year rolls around, I'm gonna have to make it a thing of reading them all out to everyone.
Oh,
there's about 20 get submitted per year, and Twitter votes on it.
Well, that can be well, I think I would like to propose that now on a weekly basis from now on the road trip on Saturdays, we have a segment called Russ Morgan's Egger Drills and what happened this week, Norway segment. And then we must have a segment on what you just from those stories, those what do you call it? The awards? What was the award you called it?
The Didn't Happen of the Year awards.
The Didn't Happen of the Year awards. We're going to have one of those stories at least every week now because they are fucking brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant.
They come with such titles. I'm not going to read them out, but I'll tell you the titles. A European Man and Emotionally European.
Emotionally European, right? Okay. Right.
To do with the EU passport, obviously. No Curvature versus Psalm 139.
Let's save that for next week or something.
I'm not going to
Let's-
read them out. Just the titles are
Yeah.
Pulling the Plug versus 100-Person Orgy.
Lordy.
The title, I mean, I did read out 100-Person Orgy, but
Yeah. well,
100-Person
that
Orgy, ironically, it defeated Pulling the Plug by a margin of 31% to 69%, because of course it did.
Bloody hell. But yeah, you'll have to read one of those, at least one of those again next week, Tom, because they are fucking amazing. They are absolutely brilliant. But anyway, just to go back onto the back, we've taken a long detour, haven't we, onto loads of different subjects. But back to football, right? On the telly in the background here, I'm watching because it's the Paralympics now, right? I've never seen this before, and it's actually amazing to watch in terms of how they actually do it. This is football for the blind and the visually impaired. Football for the blind and visually. It's amazing that they can do this. Absolutely amazing what they're doing.
It truly is, because I couldn't do that. I couldn't play football with my eyes shut.
No, I mean,
Well, if I did,
we
I'd
struggle
fall
to
over.
play football with our eyes open, right? And these guys are,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, listen, it's not good football, right? I think we can be honest and say that. But they can actually kick these balls and pass it to each other and shoot. I mean, and they can't even. There's a sound in the ball. I think they can hear.
Yeah, there is a bell in the ball.
There's a sound in the ball, so they know where. But the way they can play together and do this, it's absolutely amazing.
I do believe the only player in each team that has vision is the goalkeeper.
Yeah. The goalkeeper
Because,
he's got vision, and he's the only player on each team that has vision. The others don't, and they're wearing these specialized masks to make sure, that for those that are visually impaired, you can see a little bit, that they actually don't get to see anything. So it's on a level playing field, basically. But yeah, it's amazing to watch. But I don't mean to be rude, but they've got this pitch, right? It's a small pitch, like what you'd see
like a 5-a-side, right?
Like a 5-a-side. Yeah, it's 5-a-side pitch, right? And they're 5-a-side, basically playing 5-a-side. But this where they got this set up is right next to the Eiffel Tower. It's an amazing setup visually and aesthetically. And it's right next to the Eiffel Tower. When they zoom out, you can just see the Eiffel Towers right there. And I'm thinking, these poor bastards, they can't see any of that. They're in this amazing setting, and they can't see any of it, the poor guys.
I don't know if Russ meant this pun, but England could have Dave Seaman in goal.
Did he mean that as a pun?
I have no idea. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure if he does claim that he did mean it, we'll all think he's lying anyway. But
but it's amazing to watch them. It's amazing. They hardly score any goals. I mean, I don't think I've seen there's been no goal scored in this game at the moment because it's so hard for them to score. But it's amazing they can do this.
Oh, you're actively watching this right now?
Yes, in the background on the TV, it was live. It's the bronze medal game between Colombia and Brazil, and it's football for the visually blind.
Is there a women's version of this?
Yes, there's a women's as well. Yeah, I did notice the other day they was playing a bit of that.
I was going to say, will Sweden?
Sorry, you went a bit choppy there, Tom. I didn't catch you. What did you
Will
say?
Sweden be playing the Brazilian women's team by any chance?
I don't know. I have no idea. I
thought it was a fair question. I mean, people are going to say, fucking hell. Well, I'm not going to put that sentence coming out of my mouth, but
yeah.
I suppose in case we do have any blind viewers, I should read it out to not exclude them from the show. Russ Morgan, spelled RUSSMORGAN, has said, in fact, I might even, if you write to me on Twitter at RuggyBoy101, he probably should send you a, me of course, not him, should probably send you a Russ Morgan's name in Braille. He said, it presumably meaning the blind football. Sorry, visually impaired football. Sorry. Better than women's football. Do you mean women's football, women in general, or the blind women's football?
Yeah.
Is the men's blind football better than the women's blind football?
Oh dear, Russ. Oh
I
dear.
can't imagine
We
there's
all
many
know what you meant.
kick-ups in either. But
You just gotta stop for that boy.
yeah, score update. England 1-0 up against the Irish with
Declan Rice.
former Irish
Get in.
player Declan Rice.
Get in there, Declan. Get in there, Declan.
I mean, that's a really. Speaking of which, I mean, that's quite the week he's had because he's gone from this to goal.
Yep, that's it.
Well, I suppose I'll ask you all before we go: are you willing to admit this was a red card? Or sorry, second yellow. Second yellow. That's the key distinction. Second yellow.
What are you talking about in terms of
a week later? Is this a second yellow?
I don't think anyone's ever doubted that, Tom.
A lot of people have doubted this.
Yeah, they think a lot of people have reacted in terms of, I think it's very harsh to give that you know, in many other if it had been another referee, it might not have been given because it's very, very harsh. But by the letter of the law, as many people have agreed, you know, it is a second yellow card by the letter of the law. But that's you know, I don't want to go all over this all over again. But I don't think that's, you know, it's the consistency, isn't it? That's the problem. It's the consistency that everyone's going on about.
Yeah,
fair enough.
That was the big consensus Monday night. But and if you missed Monday night, we discussed there was a tinge of it only happens to Arsenal. They're the only ones that get time wasting cards. But
that's not true.
I absolutely pulled up the data, and Aston Villa had the most time wasting cards last year.
Yeah, but it's still a matter of consistency, isn't it? That's the thing, because you see so many examples that's been showed over the last week of different players doing the same thing, not getting a yellow card, you know. So it's the consistency that everyone wants to see improve, you know, and it really does have to improve because the consistency is just shocking with the Premier League referees.
I mean, I'm okay if they just start handing out yellows for time wasting. I don't care if
I'd argue the refereeing is consistently bad for everyone.
Yeah, it's true, Tom. It's every game has some kind of controversial incident involving the referee. You know, it's true. It's just, you know, every team is going to go through it. Some teams more than others. You know, but it's these referees that something needs to be done in terms of, you know, this is what we discussed last week, isn't it? We need to have something. Something needs to happen in terms of accountability, punishment. Something needs to happen to these referees so they learn that they can't just fucking get away with this shit all the time.
On the stoop last night, I can't remember who said it in the chat, but someone did write, would Manchester City have got that second yellow card? And I couldn't help but say, my instinctual answer is a Manchester City player wouldn't be arrogant and stupid enough to actually kick the ball away while already on a yellow card. They take tactical yellows all the time. But to my knowledge, they don't have players sent off for kicking the ball out of play.
So many players do it, though. You've seen it. There's so many examples. I mean, you know, it's difficult to say whether a Manchester City player would have done it or not, but we've seen so many examples. There's been shown, you know, various video clips of games during the last, you know, I'm not talking about the games that happened last week, but clips of previous games have been shown, you know, where players have done the same thing and they're not being booked. So it's the consistency. That's the thing. You've got to, once you start down that line, you set that line, then you've got to do it consistently.
I really don't believe in... This is the thing. We can sit here and we can mock these people with their conspiracy theories, but then when it suits people that I would deem fairly intelligent individuals, and Ryan, would then come out with, oh, they're against Arsenal. It's like, but you're clever people. Why over sport do you believe something so patently, improvably untrue?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It is provable that Arsenal are not the team that got the most decisions go against them last season. There were several other teams that had a lot more decisions go against them. So that's just, simple fact. But at the end of the day, as a fan of your team, you're mainly watching your team, aren't you? So it feels a lot worse from your own perspective and your own team's perspective, right? You have that tunnel vision, don't you? But the fact of the matter is the referees are very poor in terms of a lot of the decisions they make are very poor, and it's the consistency. It's once one referee makes that decision and you see all the other referees basically don't, that's the problem. That is the fucking problem.
But again, this is what it comes down to, Sam. People are against this narrative is basically it's a cop out for your own failures. So at the end of the day, I do this with the NFL too. The Baltimore Ravens lost on that play on Thursday night. They shouldn't have fumbled the ball on their own 10-yard line. Also,
yeah, you can always.
So but that's my point. Is like it's easy to take that one example and be like, "Oh my God, we were done so wrong," and well, yeah, but you missed this shot earlier. You did this wrong earlier that cost you 3 points here. Like it's a cop out in my opinion. Now, granted, the referee shouldn't have made the call. And if you're going to make the call, then make it across the board. The consistency will never be disagreed with on that, Sam. 100% should be consistent. But if all things in life are equal, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know exactly. Life's not equal. Life's not fair. I'm sorry. It's just not.
It's true. You're absolutely right, Spencer. And that is
and I'm not saying that towards you, Sam. I'm just saying
I know.
Fellow Arsenal fans that have played this like victim card all week over this.
I understand.
Stuff.
And Spencer, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right in terms of what you're saying there. A football game at the end of the day is not. I agree, and I will always say this. A football game at the end of the day is not 100% decided by the referee. It's decided by the two teams playing each other and what they do in front of goal, right? That's how a football game is decided. We had our chances against Brighton to score goals, and we only scored one, right? So that's true. That is You can't argue that. That is 100% correct. Where I would say there is a slight difference is in terms of when you're looking at individual referee mistakes or incorrect decisions. Yes, in most instances, it's going to be that one instance. It's going to be like that one yellow card, or it's going to be that one incorrect throw or an incorrect corner, or it wasn't a penalty. Those individual mistakes, but where this is slightly different for me is because that second yellow card quite early in the second half, when that mistake directly leads to the player being sent off, that changes the whole complexion and the way the game is played. It puts Arsenal on the back foot. You're at a disadvantage because you're only at 10 with 10 men. It changes the style of play. It changes your tactics. Everything changes from that point on based on that mistake. That is my contention. It's not just an individual, like one-off thing. It changes the whole outcome of the way the game is played. But yes, you're right in terms of we still created a couple of chances, even with 10 men, that we could have scored on and should have scored on. We should have still arguably won the game. But again, the outcome of that decision is the whole game changes. It's not just one free kick or one incorrect throw in or corner. It's something that significantly changes the game, and that's what's annoying. And when the referee does that based on such a small, ridiculous decision like that, and then it doesn't do it with other players in the same game on the other team, that's where it really gets hard to accept,
And I think you and we discussed this offline. I think I said you a random. It's like I think it was later that night. I was like, for me, the way the ref should have handled that, you could give Declan the yellow, but you got to give the Brighton player something for what he did for just
He
kicking.
deserves a red. Dangerous play, right? That's the thing. He deserves a
Or
red. Yeah.
the flip side of this, you go like, okay, hold on here. Let's reset the play. Captains come over. This is it, dude.
Yeah.
We're done. None of this bullshit you guys are doing. Because Declan knew what he was doing. Whatever. And the guy that kicked through in Brighton knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So that the outcome that should have happened never happened. But I could live with you sending Declan off if you send off is it Veltman who kicked through and kicked him. Like if that was the way we went down to 10 men each, I could be like, okay, I can understand that. And then I wouldn't be as angry about it. But for me, I'm going back to you on this. And also, like I said, the team still should be better enough to not put it in the referee's hands. Don't ever do that. That's the lesson learned here is don't ever put the game in the referee's hand, regardless of sport, baseball, whatever it is. Pick your sport. But at the end of the day, I think the takeaway is the inconsistency. That's what hurts me more than anything else is the fact that, and who knows, Kavanaugh might get demoted. I think I texted Tom a couple weekends ago when the Leeds game was on Paramount and I was watching it. Simon Hooper was refereeing in a championship. So obviously he's been demoted. So is that what heads up happening to Kavanaugh?
I've got issue with this.
I know what you're about to say, but say it.
Yeah. I think Stevie Wonder can see what I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
He can see that I'm going to go, why should Leeds United be punished because of a mistake that perceivably might be made in the Premier League game? Why should my team have to be refereed by someone you deemed as a not good enough ref to ref your game?
Shall I tell you why, Tom? Shall I tell you why?
Because fuck you, that's why. I know that's your answer.
Because you're in a championship and no one gives a toss.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck Arsenal. You know what? Just because of that, Sam, you've talked yourself into addressing Dan from Brownie. Brownie can't believe no Arsenal fan seems to be refusing to acknowledge any blame on Rice. Get an Arsenal fan I've
said it was right.
I mean, I've said this before.
My argument right now, Sam.
I said this before when it comes to Declan Rice. Why the hell are you kicking the ball away? It's at the other team's 18. What time advantage are you going to get? Saliba and Rice are at the 16. What are you doing?
What Rice did is silly. It's very minor. What he did is very minor. It's still against the laws of the game, and can get a yellow card, which will happen. But I think what's his name, Mark Halsey, the ex-referee who comments a lot on these decisions. I think he said the right thing, and he said in his opinion, what should have happened because the ball was rolling, right? That's the actual first infraction. The ball was rolling. The ball was not still when the free kick was to be taken. So what should have happened was the referee should have blown his whistle, said the ball is rolling, and reset everything. Just like you said, Spencer, reset everything. Say, okay, the free kick needs to be taken back because it was also taken like 5 yards away from where it's supposed to be taken as well because the ball was rolling. So it should have been reset. Okay, put the ball where it's supposed to be. Let's calm down, talk to each of the players and the captains and say, right, that's it. No more crap now. This is it. No more rubbish. You're a yellow, you're very close to a yellow card here. Let's just calm down. And that would have been it. That would have been fine. Just defuse the situation. But the referee made complete wrong decision by ignoring the rolling ball, ignoring that it was 5-6 yards away from where it should have been taken, ignored that Veltman actually kicked Rice from behind with dangerous play. All of that was ignored, and Rice was the guy who ended up with the second yellow card, which, yes, individually, when you look at just that one infraction by itself is correct, but it's everything else with it, right? That's the problem. And you're right. It should have just the right way to handle it would just be to reset everything, but it didn't fucking happen. And everything turned into a fucking shit show.
Here's the other thing, Sam, that I think is more troubling with this. And I'm a VAR defender. The stats show that it helps out. But the problem you have is second yellows aren't reviewable by VAR.
Yeah.
Well, the laws say we can't do this. Well, you don't enforce all the laws. So what's the point of not breaking the laws for this situation? You got that assistant ref to be like, well, hold on, Chris, The ball wasn't set. There's a lot of things that are weird here. This is your call, but obviously I think you need to look at this from this perspective. You either send Rice off for time wasting, but your boy over here just booted through him knowing what he did, or you can reset everything. And it's just like there needs to be that discussion with VAR. And here's the other thing. I mentioned it Monday night. They can't even appeal the second yellow. You can only appeal second yellows on mistaken identity.
Yeah.
So from the Premier League perspective, like Arsenal can't even like voice their disgust on it. So you can't even go like, hey, look, because I look at it from the Premier League's perspective, and maybe when we come back next weekend, we're going to see time-wasting yellows left and right. Maybe. I mean, because we did see for a little bit there that they had the extenuating extra time, right? They because for people taking their time, that was the I mean, there's something they do in collegiate over here for soccer, and I call it soccer because it's not football over here, but whatever. They actually stop the clock for certain situations. And I have to go further into it, and I'll send you guys. I'll do a little research on it. But, you know, substitutions is one. Throw-ins, they don't stop the clock. Like different situations, but there is not much extra time. And I think maybe that's something that needs to be looked into as well to avoid. And granted, you're not going to stop the clock for a throw-in every 10 seconds, but there are situations where it makes sense. Hey, we got to stop it, and then let's keep it moving.
Because you have the difference. You have the FIFA introduced those new guidelines to add on all the time that's spent not playing football, basically, and you end up with this 8, 9, 10 minute injury time, basically, or time added on, as they call it, which I think is correct, really, because that is the time that's actually wasted during the game. So I'm actually 100% behind that FIFA regulation that actually adds on the proper amount of time in a football game, even though I know it becomes annoying for a lot of fans, especially if your team's like winning by 1 goal and all of a sudden you've got 10 minutes extra that, you know, the other team might fucking score. But anyway, I just agree that's the way it should be. But yeah, I mean the thing with VAR though is you're correct in everything you say, but actually if it's been reported correctly, I was reading that VAR actually looked at the Veltman Veltman kicking Rice because it was potential dangerous play. They actually looked at that, spent about 5 seconds, and said, "No, it's nothing. Don't worry about it." That is another, for me, it's another grave mistake, that VAR keep doing. Unfortunately, the level of the people looking at that and fucking make decisions has to improve as well from the VAR room. So, yeah, there's a lot of different things here that have to happen, and it has to improve a lot because there's just too much. There's just too much happening in terms of blatantly poor decisions. It's too much. And when you've got this much money on the line, right? The Premier League, now the most valuable asset there is in world football now. There's so much money involved at so many levels. It's amazing to me how, in my opinion, and I don't know if everyone agrees with this, I think probably a lot of people agree, we have the best league in the world, but we have the fucking worst referees. If the best league in the world should have the best referees, it's as simple as that. But we've got this fucking FA PGMOL system with the way all the referees are brought up and, trained through the FA system in England and all that. And it's obviously a system that doesn't fucking work very well. The wrong people are getting the fucking top positions, the top referee jobs in the top divisions. It just needs to be a lot better. I mean, you could see in the Euros, right? The Euros, how much better. And of course, it's never going to be perfect. Like you say, Spencer, absolutely. They're human beings involved, right? It's never going to be 100% perfect. But we want to be at a level where we think, okay, the amount of discrepancy, the amount of incorrect decisions, is at a livable, acceptable level. It doesn't happen very often. Unfortunately, right now in the Premier League, it's every fucking game, every weekend. That's just unacceptable. But you saw in the Euros, which is my example I want to bring up, in the Euros, there was hardly any mistakes, very few mistakes from both the on-field referee and also the VAR assistant refereeing. So you can see that it's obviously the level of referees and the people doing the VAR assistant refereeing was at a much higher level, a much better level in the Euros. So that's what I'm saying. We need to have this review of our referees and the way we run the refereeing system in the Premier League, and we've got to fucking do much better. If we have to maybe bring in the best referees from around the world and start looking at it like football players, you go out and you pay you start paying referees a lot more money, and to bring in better referees and have the best referees from around the world in the league instead of just English referees. Maybe that's something we have to start to look at. But at the end of the day, you can see from the Euros that it is possible to have a decent level of refereeing, and that is far, far from what we get in the Premier League.
And I think you see that in other leagues too. There is a lot better out there, and I think and I think my point that I brought up also, and I think you said it as well. Like, it's not acceptable the amount of mistakes that happen. It's not even close at this point. I think the tools are good to have, because at the end of the day, you're still going to have poor refereeing regardless. It's just there's no way to correct. Like, at least at this point, there's a chance to correct mistakes, even though it doesn't get it completely correctable all the time. I mean, what we saw on Saturday last week, 100%. I think looking back at it, we've had a week to think about it. I think the best thing is to reset the play, set the ground rules. I think that would have been the level-headed refereeing thing to do. But we don't see it. And that's the thing. We can go to the first Man City Arsenal game last year. Remember, Kovacic had 2 tackles, one on Odegaard, one on Rice. And I think it came out later that, he didn't want to impact the game. Well, either it's a foul, that's a yellow cardable offense, or it's not. The laws don't say, I don't want to have an – and again, I think I've said this before, and it's a broken record. This is an entertainment sport.
Yeah.
You don't want people turning the TV off at – Sky Sports is paying for this game to be on, and they don't want City up 4-0 in the first 10 minutes. And then people are like, well, I'm going to go watch Peaky Blinders or pick your show. Vice, so at the end of the day, and I'm going to throw the NFL in here too. Just like they said, they told the players to not go out in Brazil and do stuff. They don't give a shit because the money's coming in. If the money's coming in, no one cares.
Yeah.
And the powers that be are still making every bit of it's the same thing with the EA Sports in the Madden game. Everybody trashed it. But if the NFL is making their billions and EA Sports is making their billions, guess what they're going to show out to you next year? The same game, because you bought it. And I think that's really, the thing that's not discussed as much as we want things to be right. The powers that be are still making the money. And protesting isn't going to make it any better. I mean, it did work against the Super League. But at the end of the day, I think Sam brought it up. You should go out and try to get the best referees in the world, too. Pay them.
Yeah.
Entice them. At bare minimum.
I think it should be opened up to the world, basically, for referees like it is with players. If you go out and get the best players from around the world, it's open now for everyone to come in. There's no restrictions anymore. You go out and get whoever you want. It should be the same for referees. It shouldn't just be the same old system it's been for 150 years, where it's only English referees and you have to go through the system and it's all bureaucracy this way or that way. It's all a fucking PAL system anyway. I bet you 100% there's loads of good referees out there who never get to fucking get anywhere close to, any of the higher leagues in football because they don't know the right people and, they don't, kiss ass the way they should be and all that shit, the old boys network. No, they should just fucking open it up and say, okay, let's look at who the best referees in the world are. Let's go out and offer them a job. Come to the Premier League. We'll give you a great salary. At the moment, I think referees are paid. The top referees now, I think they. I don't know if you know this, Tom. Maybe you might be able to correct me, but I think the top referees get about 150k a year, 150,000 pounds a year, roughly. It's a very good living for someone. I think it's about 150k a year, something. I think the top referees get, which of course is nowhere near what the players get, but that's a whole different thing, right? The referees are not like the players. So, but 150,000 pounds a year is a good salary. It's very, very high level salary for a normal person. But yeah, just make that higher, go out to the world and say, okay, we'll pay you 300K or something like that. Let's open it up and bring in the top best referees and fucking improve it. I think it's something like that needs to be done, because it's so apparent that what we're doing now with the PGMOL is just not working. It's just not fucking working. It needs to change completely.
They need, you know what will solve this to everyone's liking? Just let Russ Morgan select the refs.
Yeah, let Russ Morgan on the PGMOL.
Just let Russ Morgan pick referees that like Arsenal. Because that's the only way he's going to be happy. Like, he sits there, the ref should be mic'd up. But I bet the second the ref does a decision that ultimately leads to Arsenal drawing a match against a team they shouldn't draw against, he'll be furious. And he won't care if the referee explains the decision, the why, or the what, or why he made the decision. He won't give a shit.
They mic'd up the referee, what was it, in 91 or 92 or something like that, with David Ellery. It was an Arsenal game, Arsenal against, I can't remember who Arsenal played, but it was an Arsenal game. They mic'd up the referee to see what it was like. It was it was basically Tony Adams telling the referee to fuck off for 90 minutes.
That might explain why no refs like Arsenal, because Arsenal have no respect for the referee.
I think, yes, that's it. Well, again, it was Arsenal Millwall. That was it. Back in I think it was very early 90s or late 80s. I think it was late 80s, right at the end of the 80s. And it was, David Ellery was mic'd up. And, Tony Adams was basically going in at him the whole game. Yeah, you this and that. Oh, it's not a fucking free kick. Oh, it's crazy. It's on YouTube, by the way. You should go and have a look at it on YouTube. David Ellery mic'd Arsenal or whatever. Yeah, it's on YouTube. You should check it out.
Did Arsenal win that game by any chance?
I can't remember, actually. I can't fucking remember the result of that game. I just remember watching Tony Adams fucking tell David Ellery fuck off for about 20 minutes.
I mean, do you remember the furore in that the female, you can't call them linesmen anymore, assistant referee, and Aguero just basically touched her. And there was this, you can't touch a female official. It's like, you shouldn't be able to touch any official. But it wasn't like he was touching her, like he wanted to know how her father was or anything. Like, it wasn't touching her up, no. But it was amazing, the furore over it. Ironically, I believe it was an Arsenal versus Manchester City game in lockdown, if I remember rightly. Could be wrong.
I can't remember that game now, to be honest, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear, but England 2-0 up, yeah? England 2-0 up, Rice and Grealish.
I want to go through a couple of the comments because I wanted to rash it up. Did Aguero get sent off? The first thing Russ goes to, who was punished for it? Was it a decision that suited Arsenal? Wasn't like how Jesus got touched up the other week? I heard that particular Wolves player, I believe they call it digging for gold or finding nuggets.
Oh God.
Anyway,
the same
Ryan. Sorry, go on, Tritzer.
Well, I wanted to do one more follow up on this referee thing, but it's just like you mentioned earlier, all these names for the England manager. Unless they fit that FA mold of a good old boy or the controllable asset, you're not going to hire him. Pep Guardiola could become available tomorrow, and the FA wouldn't hire him.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously now he'd be wanted by other places, but at the end of the day, they want someone that's controllable, and that's really it. And that's going to be the same thing with the referees.
Yeah. Yeah. At the moment, that's the way it is. But they should definitely completely change that. That whole refereeing organization should just completely change. Have fucking, just have someone else run it. Let anybody from the world come in, go out and get the best referees and regulate it properly, and And that way you avoid all the fucking bias as well, right? Because at the moment we do have an issue with the referees in England is that each of these referees have favourite football teams, right? And the problem we do have, and this is something that isn't discussed anywhere near as much as it should be, is that the vast majority of Premier League and top level referees are from the north of England. They're from the Manchester, Liverpool, Nottingham area, or that area of England is where most of them are from. So they're going to have their fucking allegiances to their teams. And now there is that rule where you can't referee the team each referee, it's known which team they support, at least within the PGMOL, and you can't referee a game with that team in, which is, it's a sensible decision. But they've still got their allegiances to their clubs, right? So Cavana is probably a Manchester City fucking fan because he's from Greater Manchester. He could be a fucking Manchester City fan, so you can't tell me that these things don't have some kind of subconscious, bias or some subconscious actual, trying to look for the right word, but it does play a role in some way subconsciously. And you avoid that with foreign referees, right? If you've got a German referee or an Italian referee or a fucking referee from Albania, they're not going to have the same allegiances as you do with the English referees.
Well, okay. So, there we go. Chris Kavanagh's a Transmere fan. So is former referee Mike Dean, I believe. He's a season ticket holder. He's a very vocal season ticket holder as well in the crowd, apparently. This made me think of, while Sam was talking about 5 minutes ago about it, in my head, it did enter my mind that Arteta should enter the PGMOL building or Stockley Park or whatever and just shout, "Enough is enough. It's time for a change." And then slap him on the face with his willy and then walk out. Like a boss. I'm just saying. Last thing I wanted to get, because I just wanted to stoke a bit of fire, basically, more than, if I'm being honest. Football with Brownie, a great channel, you should all check it out, has basically said, "I can't believe no Arsenal fan seems to be refusing to acknowledge any blame on Rice."
Well, that's just not true, is it?
Well, to which, who's the most likely person to bite back after this if you hear anything against their beloved Arsenal? Brownie, focus on being the third best team in Wales. And I'm being really generous by not saying the 3D best team in Wales. To which Brownie responded with, "Declan Rice's actions have shown a weakness within the midfield in Arsenal's squad now."
That just makes
Brownie,
no
I need
fucking
you to
sense.
expand on that, sir.
Why does Brownie talk so much shit, honestly?
What is the weakness in the midfield with Arsenal? I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want to know what you think and why.
What is the weakness? In terms of what?
What is the weakness that he alludes to? I've waited 20 minutes to ask him this. I'm asking him it now. Brownie, what is the weakness in Arsenal's midfield, please? And obviously, I did get your image, Ryan. It was very good, of Declan Rice and Grealish in their Ireland shirts in their younger days.
Good old Declan. Good old Declan is a good little boy.
One assisted the other. I acknowledged Rice was at fault.
Most Arsenal fans I have seen agree that what Rice did is a bookable offence, and by the letter of the law, I don't know how many times I have to fucking say it. Yes, can understand he's been sent off, but it's everything else we discussed that is the issue, not that isolated him being sent off.
Oh, we've got an answer. Oh, wait, but Russ Morgan, before we get into that, says Rice was at fault, but no player will be sent off for the same, because people have seen it and decided, I'm on yellow, I'm not going to kick the ball at. That'll be the main reason no one is sent off for the same thing again. Because players that are already on yellow cards tend to not do that.
Yes, people will get booked again for time wasting, though. So technically, the bookable offense that Rice got booked for will be called again.
Yeah,
Amy Martinez can't help himself.
Yeah.
Martinez, yeah.
He's like an addict.
Yeah.
What I think Russ is implying, not to speak for him, but basically saying no one's going to actually get sent off for a second yellow. But then presumably that's because the other players ain't as stupid as Declan Rice to actually do it while we're already on the yellow. Or the arrogance to think that you are not going to get called on.
We will
doing
see.
that.
We will see. Because
Time will
from
tell.
now on, if another player does that and they're already on a yellow, they do something similar, delaying a game, kicking the ball away. If they don't get a fucking yellow.
But are you all going to watch every game like a hawk just over this?
No, I personally won't, but I know there will be people who will.
Yeah. I mean, that's really handy when you know other people are that type of way, because it saves you from having to do it.
Yep.
But it still arms you with the argument. But yeah, Brownie did answer, to be fair to him. He did say the suspension shows the lack of depth.
That's just not true, because Thomas Partey, you've got Marino's injured, unfortunately, but when he's back, we've got Marino. What's this lack of depth? Jorginho has been good. What's the lack of depth you're talking about?
I don't think Brownie knows.
Even I.
Brownie's talking out of his anus again, which is what he likes to do.
All right, sorry, this could go all night because it's just going to lurch from. It's going to lurch from very small, intricate details that all spawned off of this one action. It's going to go into referees. It's going to go into Arsenal's depth. I want to get my dinner, quite frankly.
Yeah, we can definitely round it off. We've been going for nearly 3 hours.
I'm ready.
I trust you, gentlemen. I trust you have no real issue with that. Does anyone have anything they want to say to their fans or to a certain Welsh football fan that has his own YouTube channel? And crypto, as I'm learning today, cryptocurrency expert, supposedly. I can fully believe he does know his stuff for that. So let me try and get this. I don't want to go there. Spencer, anything to say to your fans?
Happy Saturday. College football is on. It looks like Oklahoma State's losing, Michigan's losing, and I've got 4 games on in the background. So,
how's my Alabama Crimson Tide doing?
They're not playing yet.
Roll Tide.
You can't say that. You have all your teeth.
It's a fair point.
And I have family members who are Alabama fans, so I can make that joke. Don't get offended at anybody. You can't cancel me.
Yeehaw.
That's all right. They're too busy. They're too busy doing activities with their aunt and their sister and their wife, which is really handy because that's all the same person. Yeah.
Yes.
Gary's watching this, screaming, "End the stream, Tom! End the stream!" He's already run off scared after we did our 100-person orgy segment.
He would definitely be blushing if he was here for that.
Oh, hang on. I want Sam to acknowledge my winning bets yesterday and today.
Well, whoop-de-doo, Brownie. Even a fucking broken grandfather clock is right twice a day, isn't it?
Have a good night, Brownie. Anything else, Mr. Spencer?
Oh, have a good night, everybody.
Okay. So, Sam, you want to speak to your adoring fans?
Well, thank you very much, Tom. I'm from Louisiana, and I'm down in the bayou skinning me some gators and some possum. Get some roadkill for that barbecue later on. Yeah, all right. I'm going to go downtown. I'm going to shoot me some cans with my AR-15, and I'm going to shoot me some cans. My favorite cans, they're Mexicans, Dominicans, Africans. They are all my favorite cans. I love them. They're cans. All righty then. I wish everyone a great evening, Saturday evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I want to say to Brownie, don't you put too much money into that shit coin, boy. It's going to come back and bite you in the ass. All right, then. Everybody have a great night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking part. We enjoy your company on here. Apart from Brownie, you are an absolute moron. But apart from that, we like everyone. And we want to say thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. All right. Woohoo. Yeah, that's it. Me out, boy.
Well, thank you for that, Cowboy Sam. Is there any chance you could redo that in English?
No.
Fair enough. So let me change this back because not what I meant. Sorry. Yeah, with that, actually, sorry, Sam, we have got serious news because Bonk is up 2% today.
That's interesting.
It'll be down 5% tomorrow.
It's something. It's something. I don't know if that's the word I would use. Sorry, I'm filibustering again while I look for the outro. He's had to clear out of all this stuff. Did he not have a road trip specific outro? Or was it just a generic? All right. Okay. So have a good night, everyone. As I believe someone who is arguably the father of the show, the godfather of the show, would say, life is a journey. Don't support the Cowboys.
Go Miami Gators.
They didn't do too well last week, did they? The Gators,
They did not.
You know.
But neither
Not
did
too
Clemson.
well.
Clemson was dog shit.
I checked both scores out. The Roll Tide. Shut out, baby. Shut out, everyone. Anyway, sorry. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Don't follow me on Twitter. Never really on it. It's a lie. Anyway, sorry. Have a good night, everyone.
Life is a journey. Don't wait your turn. Enjoy the ride. There you go.